Chapter 12:18. So powerful. How much is it? Xiaoping was moved. If this Skynet was installed on the Cloud Continent, then no matter how many space battleships the Red Scarf pirates sent, they would be instantly sunk. The Cloud Continent would also become his extremely safe lair, and he wouldn't have to worry about being attacked by enemies. The starting price is 5 billion universe dollars. Corinne said. 5 billion universe dollars? Xiaoping was taken aback. He didn't think it was too much, but too little because such a super weapon system was worth at least 10 billion universe dollars. Now it was only 5 billion universe dollars, which was too little. It was like giving it away for free. This Skynet used to be the defense system of the Universal Machine Kingdom's capital planet. It was always safe and no one dared to attack it. Corinne explained, unfortunately the Universal Machine Kingdom unintentionally offended a saint, causing the saint to be furious. As a result, the saint blew up the capital planet with a blow from a distance. After suffering such a blow, the Universal Machine Kingdom collapsed and was annexed by other forces. Therefore this Skynet was taken out for auction. Saints were really terrifying. Xiaoping didn't expect the Skynet to be so powerful that it couldn't even withstand a blow from a saint. However, it was impossible for the Cloud Continent to offend a saint. A saint was so high and mighty that they didn't even have the chance to meet one. Of course, if one offended one, they could only run away or close their eyes and wait for death. He obtained the Skynet only to guard against other space bandits or forces with ulterior motives. Therefore, the Skynet's defense power was absolutely enough. It was absolutely invincible under the saint level. But even so, this weapon system can't be so cheap, Xiaoping asked, puzzled. Corinne smiled faintly. To be honest, this weapon system is actually of little value in the universe. Super forces with such financial resources actually have a more powerful weapon system, various restriction formations, and various natural killing formations. I'm afraid even a saint can be killed, so a mere Skynet is nothing. Some weak forces can't take out such money at all. For them, 100 million universe dollars is an astronomical figure. They can't take out 10 billion universe dollars even if you beat them to death. In fact, this Skynet has been taken out for auction several times, but every time it was unsold. No one was willing to be a spendthrift, so the starting price was lowered again and again. Xiaoping nodded. He also understood this logic. The Skynet system, as a weapon system, was actually not very useful for improving an individual's strength. It was very useful for some forces and organizations. After all, it could only be fixed in one place. If it didn't have a nest, it would be useless to buy it. With the money, it would be better to buy other natural treasures to increase one's strength. Therefore, there were very few people who needed this weapon system and had the financial ability to buy it. It was normal for it to be unsold several times. But I have at most 4 billion universe credits on me. If I want to buy it, I'm afraid I can't afford it. Xiaoping said in a low voice. Previously, he had 590 million universe dollars, plus the 3.5 billion universe dollars he got from selling the book. He only had 490 million universe dollars on him. He was at least 1 billion short. Corinne faintly smiled. Did you forget? You are a VIP of the Universe Bank and you also have 4 billion universe dollars in savings. Your credit value has increased greatly. Your current loan limit from the Universe Bank is 10 billion. It held up a finger. Alright, let's head to Barker Planet immediately. Xiaoping made a prompt decision. If he missed this opportunity, there wouldn't be another one. He would borrow some money to buy the Skynet system and solve his worries. Money can be earned again, but if his family is gone, then it's really gone. Therefore, this was the first problem to be solved. Once he bought the Skynet system, he could wander the universe without worries. He wouldn't have to worry about being attacked by the Red Scarf thieves at any time. In the depths of the universe, there was a distant planet. The planet was surrounded by tens of thousands of spaceships. It was like a natural fortress, like a ferocious monster. These spaceships had the Red Scarf symbol on them. This place was impressively the Red Scarf thieves' lair. At this moment, in a huge warship's conference room, many Red Scarf thieves' high-level leaders appeared. The atmosphere of the meeting was very solemn. The Red Scarf thieves guarding outside the conference room didn't even dare to breathe loudly, for fear of angering these big shots. What the hell is going on? There hasn't been any news from Hu Laosan's spaceship until now. What happened? A leader cursed. Do you know that there is crystal fragrant rice worth 300 million universe dollars on that spaceship? If something happens, it will be a loss of 300 million. A full 300 million, do you know? Even for the rich and imposing Red Scarf thieves, 300 million was a huge number. According to the current information, The signal of Old Third, whose spaceship has completely disappeared. It is estimated to be completely destroyed. An old man said in a deep voice. Destroyed? Who did it? Which dog thief would dare to touch our red scarf thieves people? A leader was very angry. His eyes were spitting fire. We can't find out. The distance is too far. At present, we only know that Old Third Who and the others were destroyed on some primitive planet. There is no other information. The elder shook his head, indicating that the current information was too little. They even sent people to the planet where the accident happened to check, but nothing was left. Not even the wreckage of the spaceship was found. There were only some traces of destruction, which proved that there was a tragic battle there. What should we do? An elder said with a serious expression. 300 million universe dollars is nothing. The important thing is our deal with those big families. Now that the crystal fragrant rice worth 300 million has disappeared, we have no goods to give to them. If those big families get angry and think that we broke the deal, we red scarf thieves will probably be destroyed. He felt that this was the main point. Compared to offending those ancient families, losing 300 million universe dollars was a small matter. Not being able to hand over the goods was a big matter. Hearing these words, the leaders present all had a serious expression. They also knew that this was no small matter. There is no other way. We can only mobilize crystal fragrant rice from all over the place. We absolutely cannot allow this deal to be ruined. This time there must be no accidents. The red scarf thief leader said in a deep voice full of killing intent. He was very angry about the loss of the red scarf thieves this time. However, no matter how angry he was, he could only complete this deal first. Otherwise, offending those ancient families was no joke. Compared to those ancient families that had existed for God knows how many years, the red scarf thieves were still too young. Yes, leader. Chapter 12:19. Where's Elder Yuko? Where did he go? The leader of the red scarf bandits looked around and saw many elders, but he did not see Elder Yuko in the meeting room. Leader. An elder said, a few months ago, Elder Yuko received news from his son, saying that he found a native land with a lot of treasures on it. However, Elder Yuko's son met with an unexpected calamity on that native's land. He was killed by the natives along with the soldiers around him. Not a single one escaped. Therefore, Elder Yuko was furious on the spot and quickly led a fleet out, swearing to slaughter all the natives there to avenge his son. He explained the ins and outs of the matter clearly. There's such a thing? The leader of the red scarf bandits raised his eyebrows. Elder Yuko had a son at an old age and he loved his son very much. Now that his son is dead, it's normal for him to be furious. However, since even a warship was destroyed on that native land, would there be any unpredictable dangers? He was a little surprised. He did not expect so many things to happen to the red scarf bandits recently. Don't worry, leader. According to the information that Yuko sent back, that place has a special rule of heaven and earth that suppresses one's martial arts cultivation. At most, one can advance to the divine realm. It can be said that the cultivation of the natives on that land is not high. The elder said coldly, Elder Yuko is an expert at the true fire realm, just one step away from forming the golden core. It's a piece of cake for him to take care of the natives on that land. Moreover, Elder Yuko led a fleet with thousands of space warships. If we can't destroy a native land with that, how can we, the red scarf bandits, survive? His words were full of contempt for the native land, thinking that they could destroy it with a wave of their hand. In fact, they had long mastered the crusade against native planets. They had destroyed them countless times, and they believed that this time would not be an exception. The suppression of technology was not something that the natives could resist. No matter how many people they had, they would still be killed in one shot. How much longer until Elder Yuko returns? The red scarf bandit leader nodded. He wasn't worried about Yuko's safety. That elder replied, because Elder Yuko was too angry, he boarded the fastest flying ship of our red scarf bandits and advanced at full speed. Originally, it would have taken several years to arrive, but now it should only take 3 months to reach that native continent. I believe that Elder Yuko will soon send news of victory. Very good. The leader of the red scarf bandits nodded, indicating that he understood this point. He didn't continue to pay attention to it. For a big shot like him, dealing with a native continent was simply child's play. A few days later, Barker Planet. A spaceship quietly arrived at the port of Barker Planet, and Xiaoping also disembarked from the spaceship. This is Barker Planet? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked at the planet. Countless spaceships flew in and out of this place. It was even more lively than Heaven and Earth Star. All kinds of races appeared here. After all, Heaven and Earth Star was an important place of the Heaven and Earth sect. It was heavily guarded, and ordinary people wouldn't come to Heaven and Earth Star for no reason. Those who lived on Heaven and Earth Star were basically disciples of the Heaven and Earth sect. However, Barker Planet was different. It was a commercial planet that gathered a huge amount of goods. Countless merchants from various races who wanted to trade here would come. Therefore, this caused Barker Planet to be far more lively than Heaven and Earth Star. Descendants of various large families, members of the royal family, and even feudal vassals would come to this place. Where is the auction? Xiaoping didn't care about the surrounding scenery. This time he came mainly to participate in the auction. According to Corinne, this auction was organized by the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company. This auction company was very famous throughout the universe, and its branches could be found in every corner of the universe. It could be said that this company's reputation was extremely good. Even saints had auctioned many rare items at this company. Therefore, once this company launched an auction, many good things would definitely appear. This time, it also attracted countless local tycoons from the 6 major starfields who were interested in the treasures of the auction. The auction should be held in the central area of Barker City, the largest city on Barker Planet, Corinne said. We just happen to be parked at the port of Barker City. As long as we take a taxi, we should be able to arrive very quickly. 10 minutes later, Xiaoping took a taxi and directly arrived at the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company's building. This place was basically the most prosperous and lively place in Barker Planet. Once he got out of the taxi, he saw that many experts from various races in the universe had appeared here. Moreover, all of them had powerful chi and blood. At the very least, their cultivation was at the theurgy realm. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this moment, many figures descended from the sky and arrived in front of the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company's building. Xiaoping could faintly hear the voices of these people talking. Today is the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company's annual auction. It is said that many rare treasures will appear in this auction. This time I came to participate in this auction, hoping to buy a few fire lava stones so that I can successfully condense a fire-type theurgy and greatly increase my strength. Fire lava stone? This is a rare treasure. It is said that it only appears on stars and contains pure fire energy. If I can absorb a few pieces, there is indeed a 50% chance that I can condense a fire-type theurgy. I actually want to buy a low-grade flying sword. This will greatly increase my lethality. Killing wild beasts will be as easy as chopping melons and vegetables. I hope the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company will not disappoint me. Medicinal pills are the most important. I want to buy some yin-yang pills. They can quickly condense spiritual energy and save me a lot of effort in absorbing chi of heaven and earth. Those disciples of the Saint class sects are so cool. They don't need to spend much effort and they can get a large number of medicinal pills to help them. But us itinerant cultivators, we have to work hard and spend a lot of money. We also have to rely on our connections to buy them. Comparing ourselves to others is really infuriating. Sigh, now you are talking about it. It is said that this auction is unprecedentedly grand and has attracted countless important people. Some descendants of ancient families, elders of large sects, and even princes of some kingdoms will appear. With these rich and imposing people appearing, if there is a vicious bidding war, I'm afraid we won't even get to drink any soup. Don't worry, there are so many items being auctioned this time. Don't tell me those important people are going to clean out all the treasures? There will definitely be some soup for us itinerant cultivators to drink. I hope so. Chapter 12:20. Xiaoping stood at the side and listened to their conversation. He felt that the auction this time was indeed grand. Many people were attracted here to participate in the auction. He hoped that there wouldn't be any trouble this time. Moreover, his main purpose here was to bid for the Skynet system. Although the previous few auctions had failed, who knew if someone would bid against him this time, causing the price to rise. Therefore, he had to think of a way to solve this problem. It had to be foolproof. His eyes flickered, revealing a hint of shrewdness. Look, the Green Bull Sect's elder is here. At this moment, someone exclaimed. They immediately saw an old man flying over on a flying sword. He wore a Taoist robe with a green bull embroidered on the back and a gourd at his waist. He exuded a powerful aura. The moment this person appeared, he seemed to have the aura to suppress everyone present. Oh my God, I didn't expect the Green Bull Sect's elder to come as well. The Green Bull Sect is one of the major sects second only to the Heaven and Earth Sect. They have over 100 million disciples and this elder is at least at the Golden Elixir realm. His strength is simply unfathomable. The group of people discussed and looked at the Green Bull sect's elder with respect. Xia Ping knew that in the 6 major starfields ruled by the Heaven and Earth sect, although it was the largest Saint-Tier sect, the territory it ruled was simply too large. A single sect couldn't manage it perfectly. Therefore, there would be sects of various sizes appearing in the 6 major starfields. They were scattered in various corners of the 6 major starfields and had their own territories. They only needed to pay tribute to the Heaven and Earth sect every year. To the ordinary people of the 6 major starfields, the Heaven and Earth sect was a high and mighty sect. Those who were above the clouds couldn't come into contact with them at all. These smaller sects were the ones they mainly came into contact with. They were like local tyrants. The Green Bull sect's elder also heard the words of the people around him, but he didn't mind at all. He directly strode into the building and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. However, the appearance of the Green Bull sect's elder was only the beginning. A short moment later, streaks of light appeared in the sky. Some walked through the air, some rode on flying ships, some rode on flying swords, and some rode on strange beasts. All of them wore luxurious clothes, and their strength was unfathomable as they arrived. Look quickly. That's an elder of the Blazing Tiger sect. It's another Golden Core expert. That's nothing. The elders of the Black Rhino sect, River sect, Yellow River sect, and other sects have all appeared. These sects have over 100 million disciples, and their sect master's strength is unfathomable. They might have reached the Transcendence realm. Oh my God, isn't that the eldest prince of the Norton Kingdom? I've seen him on TV before, but I didn't expect him to come as well. Looking at his entourage, it's really frightening. As expected of the Wang family, even the guards around him are terrifying. Whoever dares to approach will definitely be hacked to death. Wang family. The Wang family's patriarch Wang Jebi has also appeared. It's said that this Wang family rules over 36 planets and is overflowing with wealth. Looks like he's determined to win this time. The surrounding people all exclaimed in surprise. They felt that the number of big shots they had seen today was more than the number of big shots they had seen in their entire lives. In front of these big shots, no one dared to breathe loudly. Those big shots didn't care about the exclamations of the people around them. They walked in confidently and quickly entered the auction site. Wait, the direct descendant of the Chen family, Chen Shan, is also here. All of a sudden, someone yelled. In the distance, 9 flying dragons immediately flew over, pulling a dazzling golden carriage behind them. The carriage spanned across the void, covering the sky and the sun. A terrifying aura filled the surroundings. These 9 flying dragons bared their fangs and each of them looked ferocious. It was said that they were ferocious beasts that had appeared on some barbaric planet. They contained a trace of the dragon race's bloodline and were extremely strong. They were invulnerable, and one of them could destroy more than 10 small space battleships. But now they had actually been tamed and used as horses to pull a carriage. One could imagine the shock of the surrounding people. Dong. At this moment, the carriage landed on the empty ground, stirring up a strong gust of wind. Some of the people nearby were directly blown away by the strong wind and smashed into the nearby walls. The impact caused them to vomit blood, and their lungs were severely injured. The ground was also trampled by dozens of cracks, and cracking sounds could be heard. The scene was shocking. Damn it. Instantly, some people were furious. They felt that this person was too arrogant and unscrupulous. He actually dared to injure people on the street without considering the feelings of others. But before these people could act, they were immediately pulled back by their companions. Are you crazy? Do you know who this person is? This is the direct descendant of the Chen family, Chen Shan. Have you heard of the Chen family? They are the ancient family that rules over this Barker planet. They have existed for 30,000 years, and their strength is unfathomable. They are comparable to large sects like the Green Bull sect. And this generation's Chen family head, Chen Ba, is even more talented. He has already reached the Lightning Tribulation realm. Once he passes the Lightning Tribulation, it is very likely that he will step into the realm of sages. At that time they will be a sage family. Therefore, the Chen family has been very arrogant and despotic in recent years, but no one dares to provoke them. He firmly grabbed his companion's arm, preventing him from acting rashly. So what if he is at the Lightning Tribulation realm? In the entire universe, there are many powerhouses that can reach the Lightning Tribulation realm, but only 1 in a trillion can become a sage. Most of them either die in meditation or are struck to death by the Lightning Tribulation. If sages can become sages so easily, there wouldn't be so few of them. That person gritted his teeth. He was clearly very unwilling. Shut up. His companion covered his mouth tightly. Do you want to be annihilated by the Qian family? Previously, there was a prince of a small country who spoke rudely to the Qian family. In the end, the prince was annihilated by the Qian family in a few months. That small country ruled over tens of planets, but they were all annihilated by the Qian family. There were hundreds of thousands of descendants of that country's royal family, and not a single one of them escaped. The men were killed and the women were captured to become prostitutes. They will be slaves for generations to come. It's fine if you want to seek death, but don't implicate your family. Hearing this, that person no longer dared to speak. He was so scared that his face turned pale. The others were also scared half to death and they all lowered their heads. The Qian family's name was very famous on Barker Planet. Who dared to provoke them? There were people who dared to provoke them, but they were all annihilated. 9 generations of their families were killed, and not even a chicken or dog was spared. However, that Qian Shan did not seem to notice the voices of the people around him. To a major character like him, these minor characters were like ants, like weeds. He did not need to pay any attention to them. Swoosh. He alighted from the carriage, and over 10 servants followed behind him as he strolled into the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company. Even though he was a descendant of the Qian family, he still did not dare to show any disrespect to this famous auction company. After all, this company was said to have the backing of a sage. Very soon, these people from the Qian family disappeared from everyone's sight, and the carriage was arranged to stop at another place. It's time. Xia Ping watched from the side as many people entered. He also walked toward this building. Chapter 12:21. I'm sorry, sir. The black uniformed security guard looked at Xia Ping. May I ask if you have an invitation? If you don't, you won't be able to attend this auction. Please leave quickly. His eyes revealed a look of disdain, obviously looking down on Xia Ping. This was because Xia Ping didn't look like a rich and imposing nouveau riche. He didn't look like someone who could attend the auction. After all, those who came to the auction were either old monsters with high cultivation or children of rich families. Their travel methods were also different from ordinary people. The strong ones flew on their swords with a terrifying aura. The weaker ones would also come riding on exotic beasts, and they would also bring many followers with them. It was a majestic sight. This was the style of a nouveau riche, who would come alone like Xia Ping. Moreover, he saw that this kid came in a taxi alone. One could imagine that this guy was just a pauper. How could he have the right to attend this top-notch auction? I can't go in without an invitation? What's wrong with those people? They don't have an invitation either. Xia Ping expressed that Chen Shan and the others could go in, but he couldn't. Those people are all famous big shots. They've long been registered with our auction company. We just need to show our faces. Of course, we don't need an invitation. As for you, although the black uniformed security guard didn't say the rest of his words due to professional rules, his disdain was obvious. The other security guards also looked at Xia Ping with disdain. It seemed like if Xia Ping did anything inappropriate, they would beat him out of this place. A poor kid wants to go to the auction? Is he crazy? Without money, what's the point of going in and staring? I think he just wants to go in and broaden his horizons. He might even be able to brag to his friends. If he has this kind of time, why doesn't he go cultivate? Isn't it better to do some proper work? The surrounding people discussed and looked at Xia Ping with disdain. Really? Can't I have this? Xia Ping took out a bank card. It was the Universe Bank's VIP card. He immediately threw it in front of the black uniformed security guard. What is this? The black uniformed security guard stared blankly at the black card. There were special patterns on it, and it emitted a noble, mysterious, and ancient aura. Clearly it was no ordinary item. But his knowledge was shallow, so he couldn't tell what it was. Idiot. At this moment, an old man in a white robe walked out and immediately cursed. This is the Universe Bank's VIP card. The person who has it has at least $2 billion universe dollars in assets. This is an esteemed guest of our Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company. Hurry up and invite him in. He turned to Xia Ping and said respectfully, I'm a manager of the Universe Vast Seas Auction Company. My name is Bai Bei. These guards don't know any better. I hope you won't blame them. His attitude was very humble. After all, the other party was an important person who had the Universe Bank's VIP card. Even the upper management of their branch company didn't have the qualifications to get one. One could imagine how noble this identity was. What? Everyone around was shocked, and their bodies couldn't help but tremble. The Universe Bank's VIP card had at least $2 billion universe dollars in assets. Every piece of information on it shocked them to the core. Even a small family's assets probably wouldn't exceed $1 billion universe dollars. But this kid alone had more than $2 billion universe dollars. That was way too exaggerated. What's more, this kid looked very young. He didn't start from scratch at all. Without a doubt, this kid was the heir of some ancient family. Otherwise, how could he have so much money and become a Universe Bank's VIP? The black uniformed security guard was scared to the point of peeing his pants. His whole body was shaking. Before, he looked down on this poor kid. But now he had become an earth-shattering big shot. It was a VIP card that required at least 2 billion universe credits. This was a huge amount of wealth that he could never imagine in his entire life. Such a big shot could probably kill him with a single breath. A casual word from him would cause hundreds of people to take care of him. To offend such a big shot, his little life was frozen. Then can I go in? Xia Ping ignored the black uniformed security guard. He took back the Universe Bank's VIP card and stood with his hands behind his back. Of course, if Mr. can't go in, then no one can. Manager Bai Bei immediately said. These were the various privileges of becoming a Universe Bank's VIP. Because the Universe Bank had business dealings with all the major companies in the universe, becoming a Universe Bank's VIP meant becoming a VIP of other companies. No one dared to slack off. Otherwise, if the Universe Bank found out that other companies slacked off their company's VIP, they would probably be blacklisted. At that time, their company would definitely suffer huge losses. Lead the way. Xia Ping waved his hand. Yes, mister. Manager Bai Bei immediately led the way. Soon, the two of them disappeared at the door. My God, that black card was the Universe Bank's VIP card. Unbelievable. I've heard about this on the internet before, but I've never seen it. Now I've actually seen it in person. Someone exclaimed. It requires at least 2 billion universe dollars to get a VIP card. Even some descendants of ancient families might not be able to get one, because it tests your personal wealth and potential. Not everyone from an ancient family has the qualifications. A group of people were jealous and envious. This was wealth they could never imagine in their entire lives. Who would have thought that such a big shot would be so low-key? And he's even a black card holder. I wonder which ancient family he comes from? If he's not a direct descendant of an ancient family, he wouldn't have this kind of bearing. Someone guessed. Quite a few people nodded. Which descendant of a normal family didn't have an entourage around them when they went out? To have this kind of ability and still be low-key meant that the family was extremely well educated. Unless it was a super family, they wouldn't be able to cultivate this kind of bearing. The more they thought back to the scene just now, the more they realized how extraordinary Xia Ping was. That security guard is dead for sure. He actually dared to offend a black card holder. Will he still be alive? He probably won't live to see tomorrow's sun. This is what happens when you look down on people. Fuck. Luckily I didn't say anything to mock him. Otherwise I'd be like that security guard. The surrounding people were all amazed. The appearance of the black card gave them a huge shock. They all thought that the black uniformed security guard was going to be in big trouble this time. The black uniformed security guard really wanted to slap himself. His entire body was trembling. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. If he knew that this seemingly poor young man had such a shocking background, he wouldn't have dared to say those words even if he was beaten to death. Chapter 12:22. Not long later, Xia Ping was brought upstairs. It was an individual room, 100 square meters in area. It had a coffee table, sofa, and all sorts of expensive food. The decoration was very luxurious. There were even beautiful maids and manager Bai Bei waiting on the side. Outside the window was a plaza. It was like a concert stacked layer by layer. At this moment, every seat was filled. There were at least 10,000 people. They were all quietly waiting for the auction to begin. And Xia Ping was a Universe Bank VIP card holder, equivalent to a Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company VIP. Therefore he had his own VIP seat and didn't need to sit with others. What treasures are being auctioned this time? Xia Ping asked Manager Bai Bei. Sir. Manager Bai Bei immediately said, there are 3 main treasures for the finale this time. The first is the Sacred Level Secret Manual, Lightning Fist. It is said that this is a secret manual left behind by an ancient saint who controlled the great Tao of Thunder. After mastering it, one can control the power of thunder. Moreover, the speed of one's fist is extremely fast and invincible. When one reaches a high level, one punch will be like lightning and can even reach the speed of light. The starting price of this secret manual is 100 million universe dollars. He held up a finger. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. Saint Class Secret Manual Lightning Fist? This was a secret manual related to lightning. If he got it, he would probably be able to control a good martial art ability. Unfortunately, in order to buy the Heaven's Net, he might not be able to get it. But if he had the chance, he wouldn't mind buying it. The second is the Saint Weapon Shard. Manager Bai Bei continued, this is a shard of a saint weapon found in a certain universe ruin. It was a saint weapon of a saint that was broken in a great battle and left behind. This shard contains the imprint of the Tao. It is very beneficial to cultivators. If you can comprehend it, you might have a 10% chance of breaking through. The starting price is 500 million universe dollars. Xia Ping nodded. If it was a complete saint weapon, of course it wouldn't cost that much. But it was just a shard. The power of the saint weapon was still very little. The starting price of 500 million wasn't too exaggerated. The last item is the most expensive. It's a super weapon, Heaven's Net. It's suitable to be installed in one's cave or home. Once it's installed, even a lightning tribulation realm powerhouse wouldn't dare barge in. The starting price is 5 billion universe dollars. Manager Bai Bei said solemnly. However, the price of this weapon system was simply too high. Basically, not many people could afford it. It had failed to be auctioned off several times, so he wasn't very confident in the success of this auction. Clang, at this moment, a crisp bell rang out in the middle of the venue, resounding through the surrounding space. The auction has begun, Manager Bai Bei immediately said. Xia Ping immediately looked out of the window. In the center of the square there was a huge altar. Armored soldiers appeared on the altar, and the defense was tight. Immediately this row of soldiers carried out a black box. The top was opened, revealing a 1-meter-long blood-colored piece of godly iron. Instantly, it emitted endless baleful blood qi and gingjin qi. Blood Sun Steel. Steward Bai Bei introduced, it contains strong golden hepta qi and pure yang qi, which is very suitable for martial artists who practice metal attribute martial arts. If you absorb the golden hepta qi inside, you will get twice the result with half the effort. Even if you don't use it for cultivation, it's also a good material for crafting spiritual weapons. It's extremely hard. The starting price is 100,000 universe dollars, and each increment is at least 1,000 universe dollars. Xia Ping touched his chin. This piece of blood sun steel was very suitable for him. He could auction it off as food for golden slimes. Once this piece of blood sun steel appeared, it instantly attracted many people's attention. As expected of the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company. This is only the first auction item, and there's already blood sun steel. I cultivate a flying sword ability and I need blood sun steel to cultivate. If I speed up the cultivation of this sword ability, it can at least increase the power of my sword techniques by 30%. I'm a blacksmith master, and I need this piece of blood sun steel to forge weapons. I can't miss out on such a good material. I have to auction it off. Immediately, a group of people became restless, wanting to bid for this piece of blood sun steel. At this moment, an old man in a white robe walked out from the altar. He was the supervisor of the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company. His name was Tan Ming, and he was in charge of this auction. Without further ado, the auction will begin now. Supervisor Tan Ming immediately took a small hammer and knocked on the table. Blood sun steel, starting price 100,000 universe dollars. Before the surrounding people could start bidding, Xia Ping immediately said, I want this piece of blood sun steel, 1 million universe dollars. What? Originally, the group of people was excited and wanted to bid for this piece of blood sun steel. However, when they heard this amount, they were instantly shocked. All of them looked towards the VIP room where Xia Ping was. Fuck, 1 million universe dollars. Is this guy crazy? Hearing this price, a tanned man almost breathed his last in anger. He stared angrily at the room where Xia Ping was. This piece of blood sun steel starting price was only 100,000 universe dollars, but this guy raised the price by 10 times. Even if he had money, he shouldn't spend it like this. It was too much. Crazy, this guy is completely crazy. Are we still going to buy it? Are we going to bid or not? Bid your ass. 1 million universe dollars. This piece of blood sun steel is at most worth 200,000 universe dollars. 1 million universe dollars can buy at least 5 pieces of the same value. Only a fool would spend 1 million universe dollars on this piece of steel. You have so much money that you don't know where to spend it. This bastard is crazy. Don't be crazy with him. Fuck, another prodigal has appeared. He doesn't even treat money as money. Many people started cursing. Xiaoping had raised the price to a level that they couldn't accept. Although manager Bai Bei was an employee of the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company, he was also shocked by this price. He couldn't help but say, "Sir, isn't this price too high?" He felt that Xiaoping was like a sucker at this moment. It's fine. Money can't buy a good heart. Spending 1 million to buy a piece of steel is satisfying. Xiaoping revealed a look of wealth and arrogance. Hearing this, the few beautiful maids in the room all looked at Xiaoping with eyes full of affection. This was definitely the descendant of some super family. Otherwise, how could he have such terrifying wealth? 1 million universe dollars was thrown out just like that. He didn't even blink. If they could win the favor of this young master, they would have no worries for the rest of their lives. They might even be able to marry into a rich family. Damn it. So what if he's rich? Chapter 12:23. Without a doubt, no one was willing to spend 1 million universe dollars for a piece of blood sun metal. Therefore, manager Tan Ming made the final decision and sold it to Xiaoping. To the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company, this was great news. It could have been sold for 200,000 universe dollars, but now the price had soared to 1 million universe dollars. This was like a pie falling from the sky. Okay, let's start the second item. Manager Tan Ming struck while the iron was hot. He immediately said, "This is a 1,000-year-old spirit herb, star anise mysterious ice grass. It grows in extremely cold places and has amazing medicinal effects. Consuming it can save God power states over 10 years of cultivation. This is a rare spirit herb and is extremely rare. It is especially suitable for martial artists who cultivate ice-type divine abilities. If it wasn't for the fact that the person who obtained this spirit herb was short of money, he definitely wouldn't have taken it out for auction. This is a rare opportunity. Its starting bid is 500,000 universe dollars. Immediately, a guard brought the star anise mysterious ice grass to the table. Many people immediately saw a crystal-like spirit herb placed on the table. As soon as it appeared, it emitted an extremely cold aura. Everyone near the altar couldn't help but shiver. Their teeth seemed to be chattering. Star anise mysterious ice grass. I didn't expect such a rare spirit herb to appear. I cultivate an ice god art, dark cold palm. I just happen to need this star anise mysterious ice grass to condense the extreme cold chi in my body. I must get this. This is a good spirit herb. If I can use this star anise mysterious ice grass as the main ingredient, I can concoct many pills. Many people were tempted by this spirit herb. Some martial artists who cultivated ice god art had heated eyes. They wanted to snatch this spirit herb for themselves. But just then Xiaoping spoke, "Star anise mysterious ice grass, not bad spirit herb. I want it. 2 million universe dollars." As soon as this was said, everyone was shocked. All of them raised their heads and looked at the VIP room where Xiaoping was, astonished beyond words. Fuck this son of a bitch. Is he going to let people bid? Although the star anise mysterious ice grass is not bad, how can it be worth 2 million universe dollars? Raising the price 5 times in one go. This bastard is crazy. Can he be so willful just because he has money? This is too much. Which family is this prodigal son from? He must be here to squander today. With 2 million universe dollars, he can buy a better elixir than the star anise mysterious ice grass. Why is he here to be a fool? The group of people gritted their teeth. They were already very unhappy when they bought the blood yang metal previously. Now, they were doing the same thing again when they were auctioning the star anise mysterious ice grass. They were simply looking down on them. What are you shouting for? Don't come to the auction if you don't have money. Hearing these words, Xiaoping immediately shouted, "I have money, so what if I am willing? If you have the guts, then use money to hit me. If you are not convinced, then bid with me. What are you doing here? It's just 2 million universe credits, which is the price of a meal. If you don't know anything, then don't come out and embarrass yourself." He had an arrogant and despotic look on his face. He looked down on everyone present and directly fired a shot across the map. What? When the people at the venue heard these words, they were all furious. If this was not the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company, where there were guards everywhere and no one dared to move recklessly, they would have rushed up to beat Xiaoping up. He's too arrogant. Which family's young master is this? You can be so arrogant and look down on others just because you have money. Which one of us here isn't a powerful person? Which one of us isn't an elder of a sect? Or a feudal lord? Or someone from the royal family? This kid actually dares to look down on us. Who does he think he is? I can't take this lying down. I really want to kill this bastard. Everyone was gritting their teeth in anger. You're still shouting here. Why isn't anyone bidding with me? If you have the guts, I will compete with you. You think you are invincible just because you boast, but you are powerless when it comes to doing things. Are you all cowards? Xia Ping said in disdain and continued to provoke them. Many people were so angry that smoke was coming out of their nostrils. However, although they were all very angry, they did not lose their rationality. After all, 2 million universe credits was still too much. After thinking about it carefully, they still could not bear to take out this sum of money to fight with this hedonistic rich kid. After all, if this bastard suddenly did not want to auction it anymore, then wouldn't they have to spend a few million to buy the star anise mysterious ice grass? By then their faces would turn green. They did not want to be suckers. Soon, because no one was bidding, the star anise mysterious ice grass was sold to Xia Ping for 2 million universe credits. Alright, let's start the auction for the third item. Supervisor Tan Ming was extremely excited at this moment. It seemed like the money earned from this auction would be much more than before. With this shit stirrer in this place, the auction price would definitely be even more terrifying than before. This item is extremely mysterious. It was obtained by an adventurer from some secret realm in the universe. It's a pearl made of unknown materials. It's impenetrable by swords and spears, and it's shockingly tough. It might have been a superior grade spirit weapon in the past. However, because of a huge battle, the weapon spirit was killed, leaving behind only an empty shell. Its grade has also dropped to the level of a superior grade treasure weapon. If anyone is able to repair the weapon spirit, they might be able to upgrade it to a superior grade spirit weapon. By then they would definitely earn a lot. Its starting price is 800,000 universe credits. At this moment, a black pearl was placed on the altar table. However, it was chipped and there were even over 10 cracks on it. It emitted a strange aura, and there were many ancient patterns engraved on it. Obviously, this pearl had experienced an extremely intense battle, which caused it to be severely damaged. What? The weapon spirit has been killed, so what's the use? The auction company is really crazy about money. What's the use of a treasure like this? That's right. The weapon spirit has been killed, and its spirituality is extinguished. This means that the treasure is useless. Although there's a sliver of a chance that the weapon spirit can be restored, it's a 1 in a billion chance. It's no different from winning the lottery. 800,000 universe credits is too expensive. 80,000 universe credits can be considered. Many people shook their heads, feeling that the price of this treasure was too high. In reality, this black pearl had been auctioned by the Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company a few times, but it was never sold. However, they couldn't bear to sell it at a low price. Therefore, they kept bringing it up for auction, hoping that a spendthrift would buy it. What's this? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. His left eye, the infernal golden crow's eye, began to revolve. There seemed to be a ball of flame rising, emitting a mysterious power. When he saw this black pearl, the infernal golden crow's eye seemed to react. It could feel that this pearl was unintentionally emitting a primal aura. Chapter 1224. 3 million universe dollars. Xia Ping called out, instantly raising the price by 3 to 4 times. As soon as he called out, the surrounding people went into an uproar. Damn it, this good-for-nothing kid is making an offer. That's crazy. This broken artifact is actually worth 3 million universe dollars. That's not right. With such a high price, could this black bead be some kind of treasure? Treasure my ass. I've seen this black bead a few times before. It has no spirituality at all. What kind of treasure can it be? It's purely because this kid has too much money and nowhere to spend it, so he's showing off here. If you have money, go somewhere else. Why did you come here to bully people? Can't you let people buy things? The group of people gritted their teeth in grief and indignation. They originally wanted to come here to buy treasures, but they didn't expect such a shameless nouveau riche to actually come here to sweep the goods. Hearing this price, some people wanted to buy this black bead at a low price to study it. Perhaps they could find a way to restore the artifact spirit. However, hearing the price of 3 million universe dollars, they immediately gave up. Spending more than 3 million universe dollars to buy this broken bead, only a crazy person would do such a thing. The people in the VIP rooms didn't make a sound. Their target was the finale item. They didn't care about similar items at all, so they wouldn't compete and waste their money. Alright, 3 million deal. Supervisor Tan Ming immediately hit the table with his hammer and announced the deal. He was overjoyed. This piece of trash had finally been auctioned off, and at a high price at that. He was instantly grateful to Xia Ping. If not for such a sucker appearing, How could their company earn money? A bunch of paupers dare to compete with me. Today you can only watch. I want all the items in this auction. Xia Ping was arrogant and full of disdain. He looked down at the audience in the VIP rooms. He expressed his desire to clear out all the items in this auction. All of them? What a yawn from a toad, what a big tone. Damn it, I hate this kind of rich kid the most. Using his family's money to show off. What's so great about him? He just has a good father. Since he wants all of them, let's fulfill his wish. That's right. Why don't we also raise the price and let this kid suffer a great loss? I want to see how much money he can squander. Some people said sinisterly. They wanted to deliberately raise the price to ruthlessly plot against Xia Ping, making him spend a lot of money to buy some things that were not practical at all. The fourth auction item, the low-grade spirit weapon, Dark Cold Sword. Manager Tan Ming quickly auctioned off the fourth item. This sword is extremely powerful. It's suitable for experts who cultivate ice element divine arts. With this sword, it can increase one's attack power by 30%. With one slash, 1,000 miles will be sealed in ice. The starting bid for this sword is 1,300,000 universe credits. Without a doubt, Xia Ping had also made a bid. His first bid was 4 million universe credits, almost tripling the price. 5 million. There was a bald man who didn't want Xia Ping to be the center of attention and wanted to plot against Xia Ping. 6 million. Without hesitation, Xia Ping probed with his divine sense and activated the telepathic heart technique, which had the ability to sense the fluctuations in the hearts of others. It was comparable to the Buddhist divine ability, heart-peering. Although he couldn't clearly sense the other party's inner thoughts, he could sense the other party's bottom line. This bald man wanted to plot against him, but he was still far from it. 6,500,000. I will fight to the death with you today. I will let you know that you're not the only rich person in this world. The bald man was aggressive and looked like he wanted to fight to the death with Xia Ping. However, his heart was very sinister. He planned to cheat Xia Ping once and then give up the bidding at any time. Interesting. Then let's see how much money you have to fight with me. 7 million universe credits. Xia Ping raised the price by 500,000 universe credits in one go. He didn't seem to be afraid at all and planned to fight to the death with the other party. 7,500,000. The bald man shouted, not showing any weakness. Xia Ping also followed with an aggressive aura. 8 million. After a few bids, the price had already risen to 10 million universe credits. The surrounding people were scared to death. 10 million universe credits had already exceeded their imagination. It was simply hair-raising. Moreover, this was just an inferior-grade spirit weapon. This price was too exaggerated. The bald man was proud. He had already decided that if Xia Ping continued to bid, he would give up. He had to make this kid spend his money in vain and suffer in silence. 10 million universe credits? You're awesome. Forget it, you win. I'm convinced. However, to the surprise of the bald man, Xia Ping, who was originally aggressive and confident, gave up the bidding. After hearing these words, the bald man was stunned. I won? Yes, you won. You're awesome. You spent 10 million universe credits on an inferior-grade spirit weapon. You're indeed rich. I'm not as good as you. Xia Ping expressed his admiration for the bald man. His attitude was very humble. He knew that there was always someone better than him in this world. There was actually someone who was more extravagant than him. He had no choice but to admit defeat. No, it's not like that. I don't want to buy this inferior-grade spirit weapon. I want a refund. I want a refund. The bald man's face was pale. He finally knew what a stupid thing he had done. Spending 10 million universe credits on an inferior-grade spirit weapon was such a prodigal act. He could buy 5 or 6 inferior-grade spirit weapons for the same price. To him, this amount of money was equivalent to breaking his family fortune. It was like a bolt from the blue. Refund. Manager Tan Ming's face turned cold. At the auction site, once the auction is successful, there is no refund. Unless you want to become the enemy of the cosmic vast ocean auction company. He was filled with murderous intent. Instantly, the bald man was scared half to death. His whole body was trembling. Offending the cosmic vast ocean auction company was not enough even if he had a few lives. I don't have that much money on me. The bald man regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. If he had known this would happen, he would not have fought with this nouveau riche. Not only did he not scam others, but he also scammed himself, causing him to go bankrupt. His entire life was over. Spending 10 million universe credits on an inferior-grade spirit weapon. Even a prodigal could not be this wasteful. It's okay. Use your body as collateral and work for our company for 300 years. Naturally, the debt will be paid off. Manager Tan Ming said calmly. No one dared to owe a debt in front of the cosmic vast ocean auction company. If they had no money, they would be captured to serve as slaves until the debt was paid off. The bald man was so scared that he fell to the ground. 300 years of unpaid labor. How was this labor? He was basically a slave. Bastard, you tricked me. The bald man roared toward Xiaoping's room. He was furious. At this moment he hated Xiaoping to the core. So what if I tricked you? Don't tell me you have to treat me to a meal? You want to fight with me when you don't have money? Have you measured yourself first? Xiaoping said with disdain. Bastard, you and I will not live under the same sky. With a pft, the bald man was so angry that he vomited blood. He had a heart attack and fainted on the ground. Chapter 12:25. For the next dozen or so items, Xiaoping also made a move showing off his wealth. He kept raising the price and auctioning one item after another. If anyone dared to bid against him, he would immediately give up before the other party reached the bottom price. This made many people suffer in silence and spend several times the previous price. Immediately, a group of people was furious at Xiaoping. Damn it, this bastard is a shit stirrer. It's fine if he doesn't get any benefits, but he's making others unhappy. He's definitely a scammer from the universe vast ocean auction company. He's raising the price here. How shameless. That shameless slut. I originally wanted to buy a gourd of pills that only cost 150 universe credits. But this guy raised the price and I spent a total of 7 million universe credits to buy it. I'm going to destroy this bastard sooner or later. That's nothing. I want to buy a mid-grade spirit weapon. 10 million universe dollars is more than enough, but this guy raised the price to 40 million universe dollars. This is a huge loss for me. Don't let me see him on the street. Otherwise he's dead for sure. I'll beat him up. Quite a few people were furious and they were all grinding their teeth in anger at Xiaoping. If not for the fact that this was the Cosmos Vast Ocean Auction Company, they would probably have rushed up and beaten Xiaoping up. Blocking one's path to wealth was like killing one's parents. Xiaoping raised the price maliciously and spread it everywhere. One could imagine how many people were angry. They even wanted to kill Xiaoping. Investigate. Immediately find out where this kid came from. Chindu, how dare you come here to swindle my money? This time I'll make sure you'll have to bear the consequences. This bastard better pray that his background is strong enough. Otherwise he's dead for sure today. He won't be able to leave Planet Buck. It wasn't just some ordinary martial artists, even some of the big shots in the VIP lounges were tricked by Xiaoping. Their faces were extremely dark. Previously, in order to buy a middle-grade spirit weapon, a precious spirit herb, or a bottle of top-grade medicinal pills, they had spent tens of millions of universe dollars. It was like cutting a piece of flesh from their hearts. This made them want to tear Xiaoping's corpse into 1,000 pieces. A bunch of poor people want to fight with me? They don't even know how to write the word death. Xiaoping was very calm in this situation. He didn't care about these people's anger at all. He was delighted. After the auction was over, he would be able to get a lot of hate points. This time, not only could he auction a lot of treasures at a low price, but he could also get a lot of hate points. This was simply a good thing to kill two birds with one stone. Don't be fooled by his arrogant look. In reality, he had a well-thought-out plan for every auction and knew the other party's base price. So far, he had only spent 100 million universe credits. To his current net worth, it was just a drop in the ocean. Manager Bai Bei was shocked to the core as he watched from the side, and his face had turned green. This kid is so arrogant and he's even offended so many great figures. I wonder how much trouble he'll cause after the auction ends. And if he stayed by Xiaoping's side, would he also be angered by those big shots? He was filled with regret. If he had known that this brat was such a thorn, he wouldn't have dared to stay in this place even if he was beaten to death. But it was too late now. Okay, the main event is coming. Finally, they came to the middle of the auction. Manager Tan Ming smiled slightly. This time, we're auctioning a holy secret book, Lightning Fist. I'll only say one thing about its power. If you can cultivate Lightning Fist and condense it into a martial Dao magical power, you'll have the invincible power to sweep away your peers. You'll be invincible and even be able to challenge those of a higher level. Suddenly many people were in an uproar, especially the elders of the major sects and clans. Their eyes shone brightly. They were determined to get their hands on this Saint Tier manual. Medicinal pills, spiritual herbs, magic treasures, and so on were just external objects. However, Saint-Tyr's secret manuals were the true heritage of a great force. Obtaining one could greatly enrich the strength of a clan and cultivate a steady stream of experts. Even if the holy secret book was not so easy to cultivate, and even if they got it, they might not be able to learn it. But no matter what, these big forces had many disciples, and there would always be a few people who had the talent to cultivate Lightning Fist. Moreover, they might be able to find an opportunity to make a breakthrough from the Lightning Fist. Everyone present knew that the auction so far was just a small event. Now was the real start of the auction. I cultivate a lightning technique, and I happen to need this Lightning Fist to condense a magical power. Once I get it, my strength will definitely increase by several times. Whoever dares to fight with me will die. Qian Shan, the direct descendant of the Qian clan, had a cold glint in his eyes. He was determined to get his hands on this Saint-Tyr secret manual that could increase his strength. He would kill anyone who stood in his way. The starting price is 100 million universe dollars, and each increment must be no less than 10 million universe dollars. The auction begins now. Manager Tan Ming announced the start of the auction. 1 billion. As soon as he said that, Xia Ping immediately shouted and raised the price to 10 times. Fuck his 18 generations of ancestors. A Green Bull sect elder cursed. Hearing this price, he didn't know why he wanted to curse, and he even wanted to kill that bastard. Was there such a bidding? Did he have so much money that he had nowhere to spend it? He actually raised the price to 1 billion universe dollars, and this was just the beginning. If this continued, how terrifying would the price of this holy secret book be? 2 billion or 3 billion? They simply couldn't imagine. Who is this bastard? Which bastard gave birth to him? He doesn't even look when he walks, and he's showing off at the auction. Is there such a prodigal son? The fierce tiger sect elder's face was very dark. For some reason he really wanted to kill that bastard. 1 billion universe dollars? How can he bid such a price? Does he really have that much money on him? Is he just putting on an act? Did the auction house check his assets? He's pestering us endlessly, trying to cheat us of our money. Has he thought of the consequences? He has offended so many of our sect elders. Will he be able to walk out of Barker Planet today? Many sect elders had ugly expressions. Clearly, such an auction price was beyond their expectations. Qian family's descendant, Qian Shan, emitted a terrifying killing intent. His expression was gloomy, and he immediately ordered his subordinates, "Immediately convey my intentions to that kid. Tell him to give up bidding and give me, Qian Shan, some face. Give this Lightning Fist manual to my Qian family, or else he'll be making an enemy of my Qian family. Tell him to reconsider." His words revealed a deep threat. Clearly he was furious. This Lightning Fist Saint-Class secret book was related to his future cultivation, so he was determined to get it. Chapter 1226. Scram. Xia Ping said calmly. He looked at the Qian family's servant. Who does the Qian family think they are? How dare they put on an act in front of me and even ask me to give them face? Who is he? Do I know him? You even want me to give them face? I'm going to laugh my teeth off. This is an auction, a competition. Whether or not you can buy it depends on your own abilities. If you don't have money, don't pretend to be a big-headed Buddha here. Oh right, isn't the Qian family very impressive? You don't even have this bit of money? Did you do too many shady things and went bankrupt? If you really don't have money, if you beg me, I can lend it to your Qian family. He looked down at the Qian family's servant with disdain. The Qian family's servant was so angry that smoke came out of his nostrils. His entire body was trembling. Bastard, you actually dare to insult my Qian family like this? How dare you? He never dreamed that someone would dare to show such an attitude to the Qian family. The Qian family was used to acting like a tyrant in the nearby star regions. Other than the Jianghu faction, they had never been afraid of anyone. Previously, he thought that he would be able to scare the other party into giving up on the auction. This was the power of the Qian family. However, he didn't expect that not only did the other party not give up, but he even mocked and ridiculed the Qian family. This almost infuriated him. Scram, don't be a hindrance here. You're embarrassing yourself. Xia Ping ordered the servant to leave. The Qian family's servant had no choice but to leave with his tail between his legs. After all, this was the vast ocean auction company. It wasn't a place where the Qian family could behave atrociously. Not long later, the servant returned to the VIP room where Qian Shan was. He recounted what had happened earlier with some embellishments. He paid special attention to Xia Ping's arrogant attitude and condescending expression. Boom. After hearing this, Chen Shan, who didn't show his emotions, immediately flew into a rage. He slammed his palm on the mahogany table in front of him, instantly shattering it into pieces. Even a crack appeared on the floor. One could imagine how angry he was now. The guards, servants, and maids were all trembling in fear. They were afraid that Chen Shan would vent his anger on them. If that happened, they would be in big trouble. "Good fella, you actually dare to look down on my Chen clan." Chen Shan's eyes were filled with rage. "This matter is definitely not over. I will let you know just how terrifying it is to offend my Chen family. There's no way you can leave Planet Barker." His heart was aroused with killing intent, and all kinds of evil plans surged forth. "Young master, what do we do now? Are we still going to bid?" someone asked. Chen Shan sneered, "Of course, if I back down here, what will the world think of my Chen family? They will think that I, Chen Shan, am afraid of this dragon. Who does this brat think he is? He dares to compete with my Chen clan in terms of wealth. My Chen clan doesn't have many things except for money. How can this brat compete with me, Chen Shan? Let's see if he has more money or if my Chen family has more money." He decided to fight Xiaoping to the end. At this moment, the elders of the other large sects also made their bids and joined in the bidding. In a short while, the price had reached 1.3 billion universe credits. Thinking of this, Chen Shan finally made his move and said, 1.5 billion universe dollars. He raised the price by 200 million. What? Many elders of the large sects and families were shocked. The Chen clan had finally made their move. No one knew better than them how powerful the Chen clan was. Once the Chen clan head, Chen Ba, had a substantial breakthrough, the Chen clan would probably become a sage clan. It could be said that in recent years the Chen clan had become more and more domineering. Not many people dared to provoke them. "I want the lightning fist. I hope that everyone can give my Chen clan some face. I will definitely repay you in the future." Chen Shan immediately said, "Of course, if anyone wants to continue bidding, I, Chen Shan, will also accompany you to the end." His tone revealed a deep chill, and it was obvious that there was a hint of threat. He meant that whoever dared to bid with him would be targeted by the Chen clan and become their enemy. As soon as this was said, the surrounding people fell silent. They dared to be angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. This was because the Chen clan's power was at its peak. Offending the Chen clan wasn't a rational decision. Most importantly, the Chen clan controlled Planet Buck, a business planet. Their wealth was comparable to that of a country. If they really competed, they might not be able to win. If they didn't manage to buy the secret manual and offended the Chen clan, that would be the biggest disaster. Although the Green Bull sect and the other large sects weren't afraid of the Chen clan, offending the Chen clan for a Saint-tier secret manual wasn't a worthwhile thing. After all, although Saint-tier secret manuals were rare, every sect had some. They weren't considered particularly rare. Many people immediately decided to give up bidding to avoid offending the Chen clan. At this moment, Xiaoping shouted, "Give the Chen clan some face? Your Chen clan is so influential. Everyone gives you face. So what if I compete with you? If you have the guts, smash me to death with money." I bid 2 billion. He directly raised the price by 500 million, indicating that he was determined to get it. A mere Chen clan was nothing. Awesome. Who exactly is this kid? The Chen clan doesn't even care. If he isn't a hothead, then he's a big shot with a powerful background. In short, when the gods fight, the little ones suffer. We better not get involved. That's right. 2 billion universe credits is too much. Not to mention that it's not worth it. Even if it's worth it, we can't afford it. Look at these two dogs biting each other. Hearing Xiaoping suddenly raise the price to 2 billion universe credits, some elders of large sects originally wanted to bid. However, they all gave up now. This price was beyond their range. It was originally worth 100 million universe credits, but now it had directly risen to 2 billion. This was crazy. Bastard. Chen Shan's expression was incomparably sinister. Although he already knew that this kid didn't know how to appreciate favors, he didn't expect that this kid would dare to humiliate him in public. How could he endure such humiliation? 3 billion. Chen Shan immediately raised the price by 300 million. 4 billion. Admit defeat, pretty boy. Your Chen clan can't afford such an expensive secret manual. Why are you fighting with me? Xiaoping didn't show mercy with his words. Bullshit. What can my Chen clan not afford? Although I don't know which clan you're from, you're not qualified to fight with the Chen clan on Barker Planet. Chen Shan was infuriated. 5 billion. 6 billion. Xiaoping was indifferent, as if this amount of money was not money at all. 7 billion. Qian Shan gritted his teeth. He stubbornly held on. No matter what, he couldn't back down here. 8 billion. Xiaoping still had an indifferent expression. Qian Shan roared. 9 billion. This was practically the lowest price he could afford. He was going all out now. If the other party continued to bid, he might really not be able to afford it and could only give up. After all, he wasn't the one in charge of the Qian clan. Taking out 9 billion was already his limit. Chapter 12:27. What? Once he said that, the surrounding people were stunned. This bastard was just pretending to fight to the death with Qian Shan, but at the crucial moment he gave up. This was clearly a big scam for Qian Shan. Spending 9 billion universe dollars to buy a Saint-tier secret manual. If the Qian family elders knew about this, they would probably break their legs. Even if the Qian family was rich, they would still suffer a great loss this time. Qian Shan was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Although he won the auction, he was not happy at all. He only felt that he had suffered endless humiliation. The Saint-tier secret manual was naturally a good treasure, but it cost 9 billion universe dollars, which was more than 20 times the auction price. No matter who it was, this was definitely a losing business. Of course, to the Cosmos Vastseas auction company, this was a huge business. They had earned a huge sum of money, and it was beyond imagination. They were the biggest beneficiaries. This kid is our Universe Vast Ocean Auction Company's lucky star. Supervisor Tan Ming was on the altar. He stroked his white beard and was very proud of himself. This auction had a great harvest, and the profits were several times more than usual. It seemed that at the end of the year he would definitely be rewarded by the head office and rise rapidly. Damn, he actually scammed Qian Shan. This kid is really daring. That's 9 billion universe dollars. Even the rich and overbearing Qian family would vomit blood this time. He angered Qian Shan. I'm afraid this kid won't have a good time. If he didn't have the backing of the Qian family, he might not even be able to walk out of Planet Buck. It's none of our business. But this time we got to see a good show. Poor Qian Shan. He probably didn't even know that such a hothead would appear in this auction. Retribution. This is retribution for the Qian family's evil deeds in recent years. The surrounding people were discussing. They were gloating over Qian Shan's misfortune. Losing 9 billion universe dollars was not a loss that could be recovered in a short period of time. They didn't know what kind of punishment Qian Shan would receive after this auction. At this moment, some of Qian Shan's scoundrels added fuel to the fire, sending congratulatory messages. Congratulations, brother Qian Shan. Congratulations, brother Qian Shan. You finally won the Saint-level secret manual, Lightning Fist. As expected of the Qian family. They are indeed rich and overbearing. They took out 9 billion just like that. I admire them. Isn't that right? This time we've really slapped that dragon in the face. We've let him know the power of our Barker Planet's Qian family. A group of people congratulated him, a mocking look on their faces. Bitch, I'll never forgive him. Qian Shan's lungs almost exploded with rage, and he clenched his fists so tightly that his veins bulged. At this moment he simply wished for nothing more than to tear Xiaoping's corpse into 1,000 pieces for daring to humiliate him. As a descendant of the Qian clan, when had he ever fallen into such a humiliating situation? This was a great humiliation. Investigate. Investigate his identity and background immediately. I want to see what kind of ability he has to fight with my Qian clan and make me, Qian Shan, suffer such a big loss. I want his entire clan to be buried with him. Qian Shan clenched his fists tightly, and a murderous aura surged out of him. If they found out that the brat came from a small clan, then they would definitely incur the wrath of the Qian clan. They would slaughter the brat's clan until nothing was left and there would be no peace. He wanted to let the world know how terrifying the consequences of offending the Qian clan were. Yes, young master. A group of Qian clan servants lowered their heads and immediately left, wanting to investigate Xiaoping's identity and background. Alright. Next is the item with the highest reserve price in this auction. No one cared about Qian Shan's current mood. At this moment, Supervisor Tan Ming continued with the auction. This is a super weapon system that is suitable to be used as a defense for one's lair. It's both offensive and defensive, and its power is boundless. It's comparable to a sex defensive formation. Its name is Skynet, and it's one of the most advanced crystallizations of human technology. This kind of auction item is very rare. If you miss this opportunity, you won't get another one. I hope everyone will seize this opportunity. This time its reserve price is 5 billion. It's only 5 billion. It's equivalent to being sold at a discount. I hope everyone will bid enthusiastically. He tried his best to advertise that this was a very rare item. Unfortunately, there were very few people who responded. Even Qian Shan had no interest in this item. In terms of defense, the Qian clan's defense system on planet Barker was not inferior to Skynet, and its power was even more astonishing. The defensive formations of other large sects had also been continuously built for tens of thousands of years. Its power was boundless, and it was not something that Skynet could compare to. Other than large forces, individuals had even less need for it. People without a lair had no use for it. It was equivalent to buying a large superweapon that could not be moved after being fixed. Even though some small forces were very interested in Skynet, the price was too high. Even if they sold all of them, they would not be able to afford it. Just as Tan Ming thought that this item was going to be left unsold again, someone suddenly shouted loudly, 5 billion universe dollars. What? Everyone was shocked. They did not expect that someone would be so foolish as to buy this item. They immediately looked over. Damn, it was indeed another prodigal, a hedonistic young master. The person who shouted was obviously Xia Ping. Qian Shan was also shocked. He originally wanted to bid against Xia Ping, but after thinking about it carefully, this might be that bitch Xia Ping's trap. If he really bid and that bastard did not want it, wouldn't his face turn green then? He definitely could not fall for this evil thief's trap. He had a lingering fear about what had just happened. If he lost another 5 billion universe dollars, he was afraid that he would really become a sinner of the Chen family and would immediately be stripped of his identity as the heir of the Chen family. 5 billion going once, 5 billion going twice. Is there anyone else bidding? Okay, no one else. 5 billion going thrice. Congratulations to this gentleman, Skynet belongs to you now. Supervisor Tan Ming quickly announced the end of the auction. He did not even pant, as if he was afraid that Xia Ping would go back on his word. After all, it was rare to find such a sucker. Wait, what exactly is going on? Why is no one bidding? I just called out of habit. I'm not interested in buying this broken thing. Can I return it? Xia Ping shouted. He wanted to go back on his word. Sorry, items are sold and cannot be returned. Supervisor Tan Ming immediately refused. What a joke. If he returned it, wouldn't this thing rot in the hands of his company? Called out of habit. Everyone was gloating. Who asked this shit-stirrer to have such a cheap mouth, wanting to increase the auction price all day long? Harming others without benefiting yourself, doing all kinds of evil. Now look, not only did he not harm others, he also harmed himself. Finally, it was this scoundrel's turn to be unlucky. God has eyes. Damn, this bitch really wanted to trick me. Chapter 12:28. Haha, serves him right. This kid's mouth is cheap. Fuck, I can finally shut this kid's mouth. He's always thinking of harming people, but he never thought of doing a good deed. Let's see how much money he has after buying this useless Skynet system that costs 5 billion universe credits. That's great. Without this shit stick, we can finally auction in peace. This guy wants to return the goods. You'll die if you return the goods. He's blinded by lard. Hearing that Xia Ping had bought the Skynet system and spent 5 billion universe credits for no reason, the people at the scene were extremely pleased. They felt that God had eyes after all. He knew what it meant to punish the wicked and what it meant to have karma in the end. They felt that they could finally carry out a normal auction and buy some items at a normal price. What bad luck. In the VIP room, Xia Ping sighed to the sky, expressing his bad luck. Because of his cheap mouth, he had only bought such an item. He seemed to have suffered a terrible blow. However, he was secretly overjoyed. He could finally buy the Skynet system. Once the Skynet system was set up, the cloud continent would be safe and secure. Fortunately, his series of performances had scared many people. They thought he bought this item to cheat them, so nobody bid with him. He bought the weapon system at the lowest price, which was considered a great bargain. Of course, he still showed a pained expression on his face, expressing that he had suffered a great loss and regretted it. The auction was still going on, but Xia Ping did not speak anymore. He played the role of a spectator and watched the rare items being auctioned off by the bosses of the other sections. Without Xia Ping messing things up, these items were bought at a normal auction price. This is the first time I feel like I got a great bargain today. I'm in a good mood. Without someone messing things up, it's a lot better to buy things. Why isn't that bastard messing things up anymore? Wasn't he yelling earlier? What's he yelling for? He's already bought 5 billion universe credits worth of items. He's even sold his underwear. How is he going to auction with us? Fortunately, this guy has a cheap mouth. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to buy so many good things. The heavens have eyes. Evil people will get their retribution. Everyone was immensely pleased with themselves and felt extremely comfortable. Without Xiaoping causing trouble here, their order had become incomparably normal. They were also secretly glad that this fellow had bought the useless Skynet system. Otherwise, this fellow would still have 5 billion universe credits on him. At that time, he would have bought everything. After this, they probably wouldn't even have any leftovers to drink. Some of the elders from the large sects rejoiced as well. There was still a sacred artifact fragment to be auctioned next. As long as the energy of the Sun Star is not extinguished, the Skynet system will continue to operate and will never be exhausted. Even the core is in the depths of the sun, and no one except the sages can approach it. This also ensures the safety of the Skynet system. Hearing this, Xiaoping was secretly amazed. As expected of one of the highest technological crystallization of mankind. To actually use the sun as the power source to drive the system was really terrifying. In this way, he did not need to buy other things to power the Skynet system. However, these advantages were actually shortcomings for the majority of forces. After all, not every place had a star. If there was no sun, the Skynet system could not be activated. Without the sun as an eternal energy source, the Skynet system was just a pile of scrap metal. And once it was fixed, it could not be moved for a long time. Drip. At this time, Xiaoping immediately dripped a drop of his blood into the brain core of the Skynet system. Immediately, he felt that he had formed a mental connection with the brain core of the Skynet system. Soon, a voice came, beep, fingerprint record, eye mask record, DNA record, Skynet system highest authority Xiaoping. The Skynet system is at your service. May I ask if you want to deploy the satellites and set up the Skynet system now? Xiaoping immediately refused, no need, standby for now. Yes, Master, the Skynet system is on standby and will enter a dormant state. Chapter 1229. At this moment on the spaceship. Because his main goal had been achieved, there was nothing left for him to buy. As such, Xiaoping directly left the auction site, took the items he had obtained and quickly returned to the moon god ship. As for what happened at the auction site, it had nothing to do with him. Of course, the most important reason why Xiaoping returned so quickly was to figure out what this mysterious bead was. If he tried to probe it at the auction site, there would be too many people there. There might be an accident. Therefore, it was safer for him to return to the moon god. What is this bead? Returning to the moon god, Xiaoping immediately took out the black bead and placed it on the table. He looked at it carefully, but no matter how he looked, he couldn't see what it was. His divine sense penetrated the black bead, but no matter how he looked, it was just an ordinary magic treasure. There seemed to be nothing special about it. However, Xiaoping thought about it. If divine sense could see through this magic treasure so easily, then the universe vast ocean auction company, which had many experts, would have seen through the mystery of this bead. Golden Crow Hell Eye. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately activated his Golden Crow Hell Eye. Suddenly, a golden light shot out and penetrated the black bead. Immediately, densely packed lines appeared in the depths of his pupils. These were the formations within the black bead. They were complicated and profound to the extreme. They were unfathomably deep and they were like numerous laws. However, these formations were now in a broken state. They were broken one by one. This was probably because they had suffered terrible damage in the past. Is this the core of the formation? Soon Xiaoping saw the core of the black bead. It was a formation plate. There were countless ancient inscriptions engraved on it. It seemed to contain endless information. Drip, subconsciously, he dripped a drop of his blood essence onto the black bead. Then, like a devouring beast, the black bead quickly swallowed the drop of blood that contained the power of the Golden Crow of Hell's bloodline. After a few seconds, Xiaoping felt that his mind and bloodline had an inexplicable connection with the black bead. Wait. Suddenly, Xiaoping felt that more than one drop of blood flowed out of his body. It seemed that this bead had a terrifying devouring power and was absorbing the power of his bloodline. 1 drop, 2 drops, 10 drops, 20 drops, 100 drops. Only when Xiaoping felt a trace of weakness in his body did the black bead stop absorbing blood. However, at this moment, it emitted bursts of green light, and the surrounding air began to fluctuate. The entire spaceship was bathed in this green fluctuation. Vaguely, there seemed to be a ripple in space. Under the observation of Xia Ping's infernal golden crow's eye, the array formation within the black bead seemed to have recovered after receiving the power of his bloodline. The lines of the array formation mended, turning into a complete array formation. What is this? Xia Ping's spiritual energy also poured into the interior of this black bead and found that this black bead had undergone a completely different change compared to before. Suddenly, a huge space appeared within it. In this space, a vast land appeared, and in the distance there were also mountains that were thousands of meters high. They were boundless and had at least the surface area of Yanhuang planet. However, this space was extremely barren. There were ruins everywhere, the earth was dry, and there was a deathly stillness everywhere. It was like a doomsday world. This bead actually contains such a huge space inside, and it can even accommodate living creatures? Xia Ping was surprised. He did not expect this black bead to be so magical. Not only did it contain a unique spatial world, but it could also accommodate living creatures. This was many times better than ordinary spatial rings. After all, most spatial rings could only store dead objects and could not store living creatures. If a spatial magic weapon could store living creatures, its value would increase by at least 100 times or even 1,000 times. Master, this bead is called the bead of mountains and rivers. At this moment, an old voice came out, and then the figure of a green ox appeared in front of Xia Ping. Its whole body exuded an inexplicable aura, which seemed to contain a divine light. Tool Spirit. Corinne also immediately noticed the appearance of this green ox and recognized it as the tool spirit of this black bead. Yes, I am the tool spirit of the mountain and river pearl, named Mountain God. This green ox was incomparably proud. It looked at Xia Ping and said gratefully, "Thank you, Master, for providing divine power to assist the mountain and river pearl in restoring a trace of vitality. This old man was able to recover, otherwise I don't know how long I would have to sleep." Mountain God? It's just a stupid ox, what are you boasting about? Corinne didn't know why, but he found this green ox very unpleasant to the eye and said with contempt, "Who are you calling a stupid ox? You thieving cat, don't think that because you are small I won't dare to beat you." The green ox cast a sidelong glance. "Come, if you have the guts, you are amazing just because you are big. This old man has never been afraid of anyone in a duel." Corinne went crazy, showing a threatening appearance. Obviously, he was angered by the green ox's words. Bang bang bang. A cat and an ox fought on the spot, clawing and colliding. Both sides fought very fiercely. After dozens of moves, the two were gasping for breath, with bloody noses and swollen faces. It was too late for Xia Ping to stop them. In the end, both of them were lying on the ground, obviously unable to exert any strength. Damn it, it's really the case of an ox being bullied by a cat. If it wasn't because of a big battle that caused the sacred tool pearl of mountains and rivers to be damaged, this old man would have suppressed you with one hand. The green ox was panting. You used to be a sacred tool? Xia Ping blinked his eyes. That's right. The green ox had a proud look on his face. This old man used to be the life-bonded magic weapon of the Saint of Mountains and Rivers. I used countless precious materials to refine the sacred tool pearl of mountains and rivers. The space inside is infinite, forming a world of its own. In its heyday, inside the pearl of mountains and rivers, the master could control the flow of time and plant many sacred medicines in the universe. It could be called the first medicine garden in the universe. It can even be used as an offensive weapon. When it is operated at full strength, it is equivalent to a big world crashing into it. Anything that touches the pearl of mountains and rivers will be smashed into pieces. It boasted about its former glory. Dizzy. What's wrong with a sacred tool? It's not like I haven't seen a sacred tool. Even among the many sacred tools, you are just a mediocre piece of trash. Corinne disdainfully said, moreover, that was in the past. Now that you have been destroyed like this, you are just a broken pearl. How can you compare to me, a top intelligent life? What? Stupid cat, this old man will fight you. Corinne's words obviously poked the green ox's sore spot. Ignoring the pain in his body, he got up from the ground and fought Corinne to the death. Dong dong dong. Chapter 1230. Under Xia Ping's inquiry, the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers only had one basic ability left, which was to store items. Moreover, the internal space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers had shrunk by who knows how many times, leaving only a small area. In its heyday it could even store several starfields. Sure enough, you are a good-for-nothing. What is the difference between a magic weapon like yours and a space ring? What is the use of you? Corinne struck back. Who said that it can only be used as a space ring? This old man can also use it as a stone to smash people. Moreover, because of the sacred tool material, no magic weapon can break it. It is indestructible. The green ox said with a guilty conscience. Then it is a round stone. Corinne concluded. The green ox frantically said, Nonsense, you are a round stone. If Master can provide a large number of sacred tool fragments and a large number of space stones, the damage to the pearl of mountains and rivers can be quickly repaired. Even if there is 9 heaven-growing soil, the pearl of mountains and rivers can also restore the vitality of a large world. At that time, it can be used as a medicine garden to grow all kinds of precious elixirs. Speaking up to here, it looked at Corinne and continued, In the universe, the most important thing is not talent, not family background, but resources. If there are enough resources, even a pig can cultivate to become an almighty expert. And if the pearl of mountains and rivers is used properly, it can also have endless resources. At that time, the saint of mountains and rivers possessed the pearl of mountains and rivers and became a tycoon second to none, possessing endless resources. At that time, I don't know how many treasures he plundered, and his foundation is deep. It expressed that it had many uses and was definitely not just a round stone. TCH, you still want to provide a large number of sacred tool fragments and space stones, and also want to get 9 heaven-growing soil. Sure enough, it is a large resource consumer. It is better to throw it away. Corinne suggested, No, throwing it away is still too wasteful. Let the golden slime devour and digest it. In any case, it is also a sacred tool fragment, and it can be considered as recycling waste. Stupid cat, this old man will fight it out with you. The green ox was driven mad. This stupid cat was really too infuriating. It was innately incompatible with him. Okay, Corinne, don't make it angry. Xia Ping stopped the two from continuing to fight. He looked at the green ox. Other than that, what other use do you have? The green ox thought about it and said, I also have a cultivation technique from the mountain river saint. It's a wood elemental sacred cultivation technique called the Azure the Arch longevity technique. If I cultivate this cultivation technique, I can condense the Azure the Arch body, which is a wood elemental sacred body. Once I condense the Azure the Arch body, I will become the ruler of the wood element. The dermic powers in my body will be endless, and I will have invincible battle prowess that can suppress an era. Furthermore, the Azure the Arch physique has natural benefits for cultivating spirit herbs and other plants. It has a bonus effect, and it can also make one an alchemy grandmaster and become a guest of the major forces. The Azure the Arch longevity art? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Although he also had some saint-tier cultivation techniques on him, no one would complain about having too many saint-tier cultivation techniques. Clearly, this cultivation technique was also extraordinary. However, it is not easy to successfully cultivate the Azure the Arch longevity art. First, you need to have a transcendent understanding of the power of the wood element. If you ignore your aptitude, you will not succeed at all. At this point, the green ox looked at Xia Ping with a little embarrassment. But I see that Master seems to have condensed an extraordinary body of flames, which contains a terrifying power of the sun. It is a sacred body in itself. If you still want to successfully cultivate the Azure the Arch longevity art, it is basically impossible. It could see that Xia Ping's body contained a terrifying energy. He was only in the divine power realm, but he had such terrifying dermic powers and bloodline power. Obviously, he must be a peerless monster in the universe, and there was even a trace of divinity in his blood. In fact, if it was not for the power of Xia Ping's bloodline being too terrifying, it would not have awakened from its deep sleep, and even absorbed a large amount of soul energy to restore it to the level of awakening. There had been many cultivators who had obtained this black pearl, but these people had been unable to awaken it as the artifact spirit of the mountain river pearl. One could imagine how powerful Xia Ping was. However, the more powerful this kind of physique was, the more domineering and exclusive it represented. It would eliminate everything and smelt all other powers. It's okay, tell me. Whether or not I can cultivate it is another matter. Xia Ping waved his hand. He did not care about this. After all, he had to get this saint-level cultivation method first. Even if he could not cultivate it when the time came, it would not be a pity. Okay. Since Xia Ping had said so, the green ox had no reason to refuse. After all, Xia Ping was now the owner of the mountain river pearl, and the restoration of the mountain river pearl required Xia Ping's help. It was also its duty to tell others about this cultivation method. Immediately, it imbued a vast amount of information into Xiaoping's mind. This is the Azure the Arch longevity art? Soon Xiaoping closed his eyes. He felt ancient scriptures appear in the depths of his mind, which seemed to contain the power of the Great Path and a vast amount of life force. Vaguely, there seemed to be a green lotus in his mind, standing in the void, controlling the life force of all things. It swayed gently as if it was the master of all things. At the same time, the sapling of the world tree in the depths of his mind also trembled. It seemed to be triggered by the aura of the Azure the Arch longevity art, and wisps of wood element aura spread out. In an instant, with his body as the center, it seemed to have formed a wood element domain, with the revival of spring, the growth of all things and the vitality of life. The world tree trembled and countless roots extended, penetrating into every meridian in Xiaoping's body. It seemed that these roots and meridians had become one, and every pore was like a giant beast, absorbing the wood element energy of heaven and earth. With the help of the world tree, Xiaoping immediately felt that he had a deep understanding of the Azure the Arch longevity art, as if this was a cultivation method engraved in the depths of his genes. Like breathing, it caused the seal of the great path of the world tree to tremble. Rumble, immediately a strange phenomenon appeared behind Xiaoping. The shadow of the world tree stretched across the void, and its roots extended to every corner of the universe, absorbing the life force everywhere in the universe. Even the fire of life in his body burned, and a cluster of green flames transformed into a green lotus, floating above his head, filled with rich life force. Seeing this, Corinne immediately activated the defense system of the moon god, enveloping this phenomenon so that no one outside could discover it. Otherwise it would definitely cause a huge uproar. Meanwhile, the green ox was stunned and he was simply dumbfounded. Oh my god, the world tree, the fire of life. Master, you have such a treasure on you and you can also do this. This is too exaggerated, a little too much. Chapter 1231. Even though the green ox had followed the mountain river saint for countless years and was once a divine tool, it was still stunned by Xiaoping's cultivation scene. Stunned was not enough to describe its current shock. Ordinary people who wanted to cultivate the youthful the arch longevity technique had to absorb spirit herbs and have a body that was suitable for wood-type cultivation techniques. Only then would they have a chance of successfully cultivating this saint-level cultivation technique. But now Xiaoping had a rare tree like the world tree which could be said to be the ancestor of all wood. The wood-type energy contained in it was unimaginable, and its grade was boundlessly high. After all, even the mountain river saint had never seen a rare tree like the world tree and thought that it had disappeared long ago. The most outrageous thing was that he had the flame of life in his body. This was a heavenly flame that countless cultivators who practiced wood attribute cultivation methods dreamed of. Once they obtained it, their body would have an endless life force, and their cultivation would be twice the result with half the effort. Back then, the mountain river saint wanted to find the flame of life and searched everywhere in the universe, but he could not find it. Because to obtain this kind of flame of life, one needed luck, and it could disturb heaven's secrets and move everywhere. Even a saint would need a lot of luck to obtain it. But now, the two divine tools that all wood-type cultivators dreamed of were in the hands of its master. Even though the green ox was once a divine tool, it was still shocked by this scene. After all, if it was at its peak, even if it was a divine tool, it could not compare to the world tree and the flame of life. This is a monster who is born to cultivate the youthful the arch longevity technique. The green ox was shocked. It did not even know what to say. At this moment, it felt that the mountain river pearl falling into the hands of its master was perhaps, a kind of arrangement, fate. Rumble, at this moment, Xiaoping was continuously cultivating the youthful the arch longevity technique. With the help of the aura of the world tree, he felt that this aura seemed to be all-encompassing, containing the spirit chi of countless spirit herbs and plants in the world. This aura was vast, like a long river, and it all gathered in the depths of Xiaoping's spiritual energy. He felt that his spiritual energy now seemed to be filled with the aura of thousands of spirit herbs, spiritual trees, spiritual grasses, and so on. It was also full of vitality as if all things were reviving. These auras converged together and surged into his limbs and bones, entering every meridian and even every blood vessel in his body, causing his body to become completely woody. It was as if thousands of trees were growing in his body at the same time. If someone were to see Xiaoping's current cultivation, they would definitely be shocked to the extreme. That was because there were wooden veins appearing on his skin, just like the skin of a tree. Now he looked like a towering tree that had grown for thousands of years. Dong. Not knowing how much time had passed, Xiaoping's body suddenly shook, and the magic power in his body suddenly underwent a huge change, and all of a sudden, it merged with the wood spirit chi as one. His Dharma power seemed to have gained a hint of noble yellow aura. This was the Dharma power condensed by the Azure Thearka's longevity art. It contained incredible power. The quality of this magic power was extremely high. This was the magic power of the Azure Emperor, the Emperor of all wood. It had the ability to suppress all wood element spiritual energy in the world. This was the cultivation method of the great emperor, and it was incomparably tyrannical. What a powerful Azure the Arch longevity art. Xiaoping opened his eyes, revealing a green light. It was as if there was a small tree living in the depths of his eyes. It was green and full of vitality, and there were green runes spinning around it. With the help of the world tree and the flame of life, he quickly condensed the Azure the Arch longevity art and successfully condensed the Azure the Arch body, reaching the initial stage. Once the condensation was successful, he truly felt the power of the Azure the Arch body. The most powerful thing about the Azure the Arch body was its terrifying life force. After the condensation, his lifespan was doubled. It seemed that the aging of the cells in his body had slowed down by several times, and his body was full of life force. Moreover, the recovery of injuries was also several times faster than before. If his body had not been instantly turned into ashes, the injuries on his body could quickly recover by devouring the life force of the plants. This kind of power was comparable to the heart of the golden crow of hell. In addition, the Azure the Arch body could also control the plants in the sky and on the ground. Controlling the growth of the plants also greatly increased the power of the flame of life. The two seemed to complement each other. If Xiaoping planted spirit wood, spirit medicine and other plants now, he would definitely get twice the result with half the effort. My magic power has also increased a lot. After successfully cultivating the Azure the Arch longevity art, Xiaoping felt that the magic power in his body had also increased a lot. He was about to reach the peak of the early stage of the divine power realm, saving several years of cultivation time. There were many benefits. As expected of the master, he is too strong. He actually succeeded in cultivating the Azure the Arch longevity art so quickly. This is unbelievable. The green ox was amazed. Everything that happened was beyond his imagination. Humph, ignorant stupid ox. Seeing the green ox's frightened look, Corinne was in a good mood. Finally, he was not the only one scared by this monster. Xiaoping had been cultivating. On the other hand, a few hours later the auction was over. The last item, the divine relic shard, was fought over by many elders of large sects and families. The price kept rising, but in the end, it was still won by Chen Shan for 2 billion universe credits. Even though he spent 2.9 billion universe credits to buy the lightning fist, the Chen family still had the money to fight for the divine relic shard. One could imagine how rich the Chen family was. Even so, Chen Shan was not happy. He was furious and his killing intent was boiling. Did you find out where that kid came from? I want to exterminate his entire family. Chen Shan clenched his fists. His chest was filled with hatred for Xiaoping. He wanted to kill him as soon as possible. He stared at a few of his elite subordinates. These subordinates had received his order to quickly investigate Xiaoping's background. Young master, we wanted to track his whereabouts, but the kid's confidentiality level is too high. He is also a VIP of the Universe Bank. There is no news in a short period of time. It will take another 3 days to find out his true identity, one of the subordinates said. But now we know that the kid is staying in the port. It seems that he has no plans to leave planet Barker. We don't know what he is planning. How dare he? Is he showing off to me, Chen Shan? Is he looking down on the Chen family? He offended the Chen family and instead of running away he dares to stay here? He wants to die. Hearing this, Chen Shan was even more furious. Young master, it's better not to be impulsive. I think it's better to find out his identity first to avoid getting into big trouble. One of the subordinates felt that it was better to find out his identity first before making a decision. Shut up. With a bang, Chen Shan slapped the subordinate, sending him flying and smashing him into the wall. Does the Chen family need to be afraid of a small fry like him? In the 6 major star fields, apart from the Chenkuan faction, who else can be taken seriously by the Chen family? I don't care who he is or what his background is. Offending me, Chen Shan, means death. Death means death. Understand? Many of the subordinates were trembling. Chapter 1232. One day later. Phew. Xiaoping sat cross-legged and took a deep breath. After a day of consolidation cultivation, he had consolidated the strength of his cultivation of the Azure the Arch longevity technique and mastered the Azure the Arch body. At the same time, the spiritual power in his body was also a lot stronger than yesterday. It was estimated that it would not be long before he had the chance to break through to the middle stage of the divine power realm. The auction is over. Seeing that Xiaoping had ended his cultivation state, Corinne told Xiaoping what happened at the auction, and at this moment the spirit of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers was resting. After all, it had just woken up and was still in a state of serious injury, so it couldn't come out for too long. What was the result? Xiaoping asked curiously. Corinne said that after Xiaoping left, the auction was still going on fiercely. The holy artifact fragment was undoubtedly the remaining finale item, which was coveted by countless cultivators. After a fierce competition, countless sect elders took action, but in the end, it was bought by Qian Shan for 2 billion universe dollars, which was enough to prove the wealth of the Qian family. It was actually Qian Shan who got it. This Qian family is really rich. Xiaoping sighed. This was the foundation of a big family, casually taking out billions of universe dollars without blinking. However, only this kind of family with 10,000 years of history could do it. Ordinary families still couldn't have such a strong foundation. At this time, the system also said, "Congratulations to the host, this time you got a total of 300 million hatred points. Currently, the host has a total of 700 million hatred points. I hope you can continue to work hard." 300 million hatred points? Xiaoping touched his chin. He knew that his actions were really effective. Although 300 million hatred points was not too big, no matter how small a mosquito was, it still had a piece of meat. After accumulating over time, he believed that he could get more and more hatred points. After careful calculation, he had gained a lot this time. Not only did he buy the Skynet system, the former holy artifact Pearl of Mountains and Rivers, but he also got 300 million hatred points, which was a big profit. If others knew about his harvest, they would definitely die of anger. Host, please note, someone has developed killing intent towards the host and may take revenge. The system prompt came again. Revenge? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes, and a stream of information quickly poured into his mind from the system. Immediately, he found out from the system information that the person who wanted to take revenge on him was Qian Shan. Qian Shan was a vile person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. This kind of vile person did not have the concept that a gentleman's revenge was never too late. A vile person's revenge was always on the line. The other party seemed to have already prepared all kinds of evil plans. They had mobilized a large number of troops to prevent him from leaving Barker Planet. They wanted to destroy him and take revenge for what they had done to him. With the Qian family's influence on Barker Planet, he had the ability to do this. Xiaoping, a lot of Barker Planet's police have suddenly appeared around the moon god. The situation doesn't look good. At this time, Corinne reminded. He turned on the virtual projection and immediately saw that the moon god was surrounded by thousands of Barker Planet's police officers. Moreover, these policemen all had powerful auras and held laser guns in their hands. Their cultivation was at least above the fulfillment realm, and there were even quite a few divine ability realm cultivators. He came so quickly. Interesting. Let's go down and have a look. I want to see what Qian Shan is up to. Xiaoping's eyes flashed with a cold light. He walked out of the flying ship and came to an open space in front of the flying ship. He glanced at the surrounding police officers. What do you want? We suspect that you are related to a smuggling case on Barker Planet. Please follow us to the police station immediately to assist in the investigation. If you dare to disobey our orders, you will be killed immediately. A police captain walked up. His eyes revealed a fierce and sinister look. He looked at Xiaoping as if he was looking at a dead man. It seemed that as long as Xiaoping did anything wrong, he would immediately kill him without hesitation, leaving nothing behind. Smuggling case? Are you guys mistaken? I am a VIP of the Universe Bank. I have a net worth of hundreds of millions. Moreover, I am a newcomer to Barker Planet. How could I be related to a smuggling case? Xiaoping said indifferently. Shut up. The police captain snorted coldly. Whether you are guilty or not, it is up to the Barker Planet's police to investigate. You are not guilty. Don't talk nonsense here. Are you trying to break the law and attack the police by saying so much? Immediately, the surrounding police officers all pointed their laser guns at Xiaoping. It seemed like if Xiaoping did anything rash, they would not mind shooting him on the spot. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and said, "All right, then what do you want?" First, follow us back to the police station and record your statement. If there is nothing wrong with you, then we will naturally release you, the police captain said. His tone was slightly gentler. After all, the other party was a VIP of the Universe Bank. He might also have a powerful background. Although he was working for Chen Shan, if things got out of hand here, it would not be a good thing for him. It was better to trick this kid into leaving this place first. When he came to their territory, wouldn't they be able to do whatever they wanted to him? Alright, I can go with you to the police station. However, I think I have a clean background. I have never done anything that violates the law. If you can't find out the truth, I am afraid you will have to give me an explanation. Xia Ping was murderous. Let's go to the police station first. The police captain felt Xia Ping's murderous aura and could not help but tremble. However, when he remembered that his backer was the direct descendant of the Chen family, Chen Shan, he immediately became more courageous. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Soon, Xia Ping was surrounded by many police officers. He got into a police car and quickly left the spaceship. Obviously, this scene was also noticed by the others. This is the kid who caused trouble at the auction yesterday. He was actually taken away by the police. Could it be that something happened? I heard that he was involved in a smuggling case and was taken away to assist in the investigation. Bullshit. He is a VIP of the Universe Bank with a net worth of over 10 billion universe dollars. How could he have anything to do with a smuggling case? Without a doubt, this matter must have been done by the Chen family's young master. This kid is finished. He offended the Chen family's young master on Planet Buck. Even if he had a few lives, it would not be enough to kill him. Once he enters the police station, this kid will definitely die. I hope the family behind this kid is capable and arrives in time. Otherwise, he will definitely be played to death by Chen Shan. However, Chen Shan is really domineering. According to his performance at the auction, this kid is rich and overbearing. He must be from a large family. He actually dared to kill such a person in front of everyone. Isn't he afraid of bringing disaster to the Chen family? What is he afraid of? The Chen family is a local tyrant. Even a ferocious dragon has to bow down before them. In the 6 major star regions apart from the Chengkuan sect, they have never been afraid of anyone. Indeed. In recent years, the Chen family has been like the sun in the sky. Chapter 1233. Not long after, the police car with Xia Ping turned left and right and quickly left the city. They arrived at a deserted warehouse in the outskirts of the city. This doesn't look like a police station. Where have you brought me? Xia Ping got out of the police car. He looked around and realized that he wasn't in a police station. Instead, he was in a warehouse in the outskirts. There was no one around. They were already hundreds of miles away from Barker City. But he wasn't afraid at all. He still looked calmly at the police captain who had brought him here. Of course, this isn't a police station. We didn't bring you here for the smuggling case. You should know this very well. The police captain looked at Xia Ping with a cold face. But you knew this on the way, but you didn't run away. Should I say that you have a card up your sleeve or that you are brainless? He felt that Xia Ping's calm expression was very strange. If a normal person encountered something like this, they would have been scared out of their wits. They would have run away while crying. But Xia Ping was different. He was too calm and collected. Everything he did was within the others' expectations and in line with the others' intentions. This made the police captain uneasy. He wondered if he had gotten involved in a fight between 2 powerful factions. But it was no longer up to him. After all, he didn't dare disobey Chen Shan's orders. He just hoped that the 2 elephants wouldn't hurt him when they fought. Xia Ping didn't intend to answer him. He looked at the police captain and said, "Where's Chen Shan? Where's that bitch Chen Shan? He didn't call you here to die, did he? Bitch my ass. You're about to die and you're still trying to talk." Someone shouted. Just then, a group of people walked out of the warehouse. The person in the lead was Chen Shan. There were 20 or 30 people behind him. They were all his guards. These guards were also very strong. They were at least at the peak of the mystic realm. There were also 2 or 3 middle-aged men who had reached the treasure refining realm. There was a huge difference between the treasure refining realm and the mystic realm. Once a person reached the treasure refining realm, they could turn their mana into a formation and merge it into their body. Their lifespan would increase dramatically. They could also sense the formations in the world and use the power of the world. Their combat ability was many times stronger than that of the mystic realm. One could only use the power of their own divine abilities, but the treasure refining realm could use the power of heaven and earth. The difference was indescribable. It was precisely because the treasure refinement realm allowed one to comprehend the array of heaven and earth, fusing the array into one's dermic powers, and comprehending the realm of heaven and man as one, allowing one to control the power of heaven and earth at will. That was why one could easily refine all kinds of powerful treasures. Compared to the divine realm, the treasure refinement realm was a qualitative change. The Qian family had stronger experts, but Qian Shan was only a divine tier mid-stage cultivator. Even if he was a direct descendant of the Qian family, he didn't have the power to recruit more powerful experts. After all, the Qian clan had more important things to do with this level of combat strength. They wouldn't waste it on a hedonistic son. Having a treasure refining realm cultivator as a lackey was already a great honor for Qian Shan. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes as he watched Qian Shan and the rest walking towards him. He was not afraid at all. Why did you bring so many people here? Do you want to kill me? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and a cold glint appeared in his eyes. You should know that I'm also someone with a powerful background. Aren't you afraid of causing trouble for the Qian clan? Are you afraid, kid? Qian Shan sneered. You regret offending me at the auction, right? Do you think it's useful to bring up the big shot behind you now? In this world, the Qian clan has never been afraid of anyone. After a while, my father Qian Ba will step into the sage realm, and the Qian clan will become a sage clan. Although I don't know what kind of background your clan has, the Qian clan isn't afraid. So what if you seek revenge? Can you destroy the Qian clan? He was full of murderous intent. Clearly, domineering was ingrained in his bones. Although he hadn't found out Xia Ping's identity, Qian Shan was used to acting like a tyrant on planet Barker. He thought that with a Thunder Retribution Realm father protecting him, he could go anywhere in the world. Moreover, this was planet Barker, the Qian clan's lair. If anything happened, his father wouldn't be able to handle it. Therefore, he didn't care about Xia Ping's background. In short, he would kill him first. What was done was done. Even if the Qian clan was furious, they could just pay some money. Would the Qian clan dare to risk a war with the entire clan and fight to the death with the Qian clan? Since he dared to do such a thing, he was prepared to fall out with Xia Ping. I see. Seems like you're determined to die. The Qian clan should be destroyed for producing an idiot like you. Xia Ping said indifferently, sentencing the Qian clan to death. Bullshit. Qian Shan sneered. Don't you know who has the upper hand now? I have hundreds of subordinates here, 3 treasure refining realm cultivators, and dozens of transcendent realm cultivators. They can drown you just by spitting on you. Feng San, go and break his limbs. Remember, don't kill him. I want to capture him and torture him slowly. A trace of cruelty appeared in his eyes. He wanted to slowly torture Xia Ping. Don't worry, young master. I'll kill him now. Suddenly, a gray-clothed middle-aged man holding a broadsword walked up. He was an early-stage treasure refining realm cultivator. As he walked, the earth trembled. It was as if the power of the entire world was under his control. This black broadsword was not simple either. It was a low-grade spiritual item. The black light broadsword was extremely sharp. Even the mica steel shell of the spaceship could be easily cut in half. At this moment, this black broadsword was held in the gray-clothed middle-aged man's hand. It stimulated endless blade chi and killing intent. It was as if a blade demon had walked out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Everyone around seemed to be hallucinating. Even if the gray-clothed man, Feng San, didn't move, this black evil blade chi seemed like it was going to split their souls. Dragon trapping pillar. At this moment, Xia Ping made his move. With a wave of his hand, golden pillars flew out in 5 different directions, covering a radius of 10 kilometers in an instant. Rumble, these 5 golden pillars stood in 5 different directions, instantly forming a huge energy shield. It shrouded everyone like an eggshell. What? Immediately, Qian Shan and the others were shocked. They didn't expect something like this to happen. They clearly felt that this treasure seemed to contain a terrifying power of territory. Now that it was used, it was as if they were in an independent space. The cultivation of the treasure refining realm cultivators dropped rapidly, suppressed to the range of the transcendent realm. Chapter 1234. What kind of treasure is this? It can suppress our cultivation? The artifact refinement realm cultivator Feng San and the others were shocked, their eyes flickering. This was the first time they had encountered such a mystical treasure, and their martial realm rapidly fell to the transcendent realm. Not a bad treasure. Qian Shan licked his lips, his eyes filled with cruelty. It's just a supreme treasure. It hasn't even nurtured a spirit, yet it can display the equalization domain. How mysterious. If it nurtures, it might become a spiritual or even a high-tier one. Is this what you're relying on? He greedily stared at the treasures on Xiaoping. If he killed Xiaoping this time, then all the treasures Xiaoping got from the auction would be his. Other than that, he could also get his hands on many treasures. After all, Xiaoping was from a big clan. He must have many secret treasures on him. And these things would soon belong to him, Qian Shan. However, no matter how wondrous this treasure may be, capable of suppressing our cultivation bases, it is still just a peerless prized artifact. It cannot level up to the spirit tier. Thus, its power is not that great. At best, it can suppress us for a quarter of an hour. Qian Shan looked at Xiaoping in disdain. You want to escape with just a quarter of an hour? That's impossible. Surrender now. You have no chance. He didn't care about Xiaoping's petty tricks at all. The other Qian clan's subordinates, including the few refinement-level cultivators, did the same. So what if they suppressed their cultivation to the same level? They had the advantage in numbers and could easily kill this kid. Plus, they had trained for hundreds or even thousands of years. They had experienced countless battles and had rich combat experience. Even if they were on the same level, they could easily defeat their opponents. In other words, this kid was doing useless things. Escape to the heavens? There's no need, because you're all going to die here today. Horrifying qi surged from Xiaoping's body. Behind him, a bird appeared. It was the golden crow of hell. It flew across the universe, shining with golden light and piercing through the void. The Qian clan servants immediately felt like they were carrying a mountain on their backs. Like the monkey sun, they were almost pressed to the ground. Even the ground seemed to be unable to withstand this terrifying gravity and immediately shattered. Dozens of cracks appeared and extended for thousands of meters, emitting cracking sounds. What? With a bang, Qian Shan knelt on the ground with both knees pressed heavily against the ground. Every single bone in his body was shattered and densely packed cracks appeared on his body. Intense pain surged through his body. He was inexplicably shocked. After all, he was a divine-tier mid-stage cultivator and a direct descendant of the Qian family. Not only did he cultivate a saint-tier technique, but he also frequently consumed all sorts of precious spirit medicines. His battle prowess wasn't invincible among his peers, but it was hard to find a worthy opponent. But facing this pressure, he actually couldn't withstand it and was directly pressed to the ground, kneeling in front of this brat as if he was kowtowing to his ancestor. He suffered great humiliation. Kill him. Immediately kill this brat and tear his corpse into 10,000 pieces. Qian Shan roared. He did not want this brat to live any longer. He wanted to destroy his human Tao immediately. Only then would the hatred in his heart disappear. Kill? Hearing this, the treasure-tier cultivator Feng San immediately acted because he also felt great danger from Xiaoping's physique. It seemed that if this continued, they would definitely die. Holding the inferior-tier spirit weapon, Black Light Blade, he attacked Xiaoping. Martial Path Mystique, 1,000 blades. In an instant, thousands of layers of black blade qi erupted from Feng San's body, interweaving into an inescapable net. It immediately enveloped Xiaoping and rapidly contracted. Once the inescapable net finished contracting, Xiaoping, who was in the center, would definitely be cut into pieces. Once Feng San used this martial path mystique, 1,000 blades, with just one move, he covered a small town with a population of 100,000 and slaughtered it instantly, leaving no one alive. However, this move was nothing to Xiaoping. Xiaoping suddenly punched out, like the roar of a golden crow from hell, a punch that blasted out from the depths of the endless hell. It contained scorching flames that wanted to burn everything in the world to ashes. Dong. With just a single strike, the inescapable net instantly collapsed and was burnt to ashes by the terrifying flames, completely disintegrating. Even the fist force was transmitted to Feng San's body. How can this be? How can his power be so terrifying? Feng San originally underestimated Xiaoping, thinking that with just one move, he could cut this disciple of a big family into countless pieces and kill him instantly. But the battle situation changed too quickly. The other party only needed one punch to defeat his martial path mystique, 1,000 blades. Even the punch penetrated the void and directly reached his body. Boom. Immediately, Feng San could not resist the punch and was hit in the chest by the punch. Even though he was a treasure-refining realm cultivator, he had smelted the formation of heaven and earth into his spiritual power and had a strong vitality. But being hit by this punch still made him inexplicably horrified because it contained the power of the mystical flame. Once it entered his lungs, it immediately spread everywhere, using spiritual power as fuel, and his whole body was burning. Ah! Feng San could not help but let out a shrill scream. It was more painful than being kicked in the balls. It was as if a bucket of gasoline had been poured on his body and burned. Every inch of skin and every inch of muscle had the pain of being burned. Within a breath's time, his entire body had turned into a flaming man. He fell to the ground, screaming and twitching. But because of the treasure-refining Golden Dan's strong vitality, he could not die in a short amount of time. He could not die for the time being, and he could not live either. This kind of pain was worse than death. I hate. Feng San screamed into the sky, extremely regretful. If he had acted quickly and did not give Xiaoping the chance to use the dragon-trapping rod, with his strength of the treasure-refining realm, killing a playboy would be as easy as killing a chicken. But with the dragon-trapping rod suppressing his cultivation, he could not use his full strength. He was only left with the strength of the god realm. The result was not hard to imagine. He was instantly beaten into a dead dog by Xiaoping and was on the verge of death. But no matter how much he hated and how unwilling he was, he could not change his fate of death. Brother Feng San. The other two treasure-refining realm cultivators shouted. They did not think that after just one attack Feng San would end up like this. It was as if he was about to be burned alive. Damn it, what did you do to Brother Feng San? Stop right now. Do you believe that we won't kill your entire clan, your parents, your family, and your friends? A treasure refinement realm cultivator threatened to slaughter Xiaoping's entire clan and all of his friends and family. Go on your way. You will all die. Chapter 1235. What is this? The two treasure-refining realm cultivators were shocked. Looking at the shadow of the world tree, they felt like they were looking at something indescribable. It was as if they were looking at the origin of the universe and the end of chaos. Their blood was boiling. The memories deep in their souls seemed to have awakened. They were so scared that they almost fainted. No, we can't continue like this. Otherwise we'll have a mental breakdown. Do it, don't be scared by this kid. Kill him. They were treasure-refining realm cultivators after all. They bit their tongues and relied on the intense pain to wake up from the mental pressure and began to fight back. One of them used a sword. His body was filled with sword intent. He attacked instantly. Sword chi was like silk and the sound of the sword was like thunder. It attacked Xiaoping with the power to destroy ghosts and gods. The other used a hammer. Like an ancient giant, all the muscles on his body swelled up. His body grew to 5 meters tall. When he swung his hammer, everything within miles seemed to turn into a vacuum. All the air was pushed out. Two powerful cultivators attacked at the same time. This kind of power shocked everyone. Even though they were suppressed to the god realm, this kind of combat power was not something normal cultivators could compare to. Get lost. Xiaoping didn't even look at it. He charged forward and activated the Azure the Arch body. His body was wrapped in a layer of green light, and there were countless green talismans flowing on it. It was like the light of the world tree, reaching the realm of invulnerability. Many tree rings appeared on his skin, making him look like the skin of a towering tree. Every mark contained the power of the wood element. Dong. With just one attack, the two treasure-refining realm cultivators' attacks collapsed. Their yuan chi collapsed, disintegrating inch by inch. A terrifying power rushed over like a flood. What a terrifying physical strength. How can he be this powerful? Saint body, this is definitely a saint body. Otherwise, how could we be like this with just one attack? The two treasure-refining realm cultivators were shocked. Their opponent's physical strength was too terrifying. It was like a treasure that had been tempered thousands of times. Normal power could not penetrate his skin at all. Even with just a light attack, they immediately felt their blood boil and their organs hurt. Even though they had already ascended to the treasure-refining realm, their physical strength was not unparalleled. If they were to fight head-on, they were no match for the young man in front of them. He possesses a cultivation technique that allows him to condense a divine body, as well as this kind of talent. He is definitely not an ordinary person. This time we kicked an iron plate. We shouldn't have gotten involved in this. At this moment they finally knew exactly how terrifying of a figure they had offended. With such a character, how could he not be from an ordinary family? How could a mere Chen family compare to him? Perhaps the other party came from a sage family and had a powerful backer. It would be as easy as flipping his hand for such a character to crush them. If they had known this earlier, they would not have gotten involved in this mess. However, it was too late for regrets now. In the blink of an eye, Xiaoping made his move. With a light tap of his finger, terrifying wood elemental powers burst forth. Countless green godly needles appeared in the air. This was the power of the Azure, the Arch Longevity Art. Dong. This power was extremely fast. It tore through the air and instantly blasted into the bodies of the two treasure refining realm cultivators. Not good. The two of them screamed. They felt a strange power seeping into their bodies. It was as if a seed had sprouted inside them and was absorbing the power of their flesh. But before the two of them could think of anything, the two green magic powers instantly swelled up and turned into two huge trees. They grew out of their bodies and split their bodies into pieces in an instant. Ark! The two of them screamed in pain. In the next second they died a violent death, turning into meat paste. Their blood covered the ground, and the smell of blood was extremely heavy. How could this be? Qian Shan couldn't believe his eyes. He'd spent a lot of effort to find 3 treasure refinement experts to be his bodyguards. It should have been easy for 3 treasure refinement realm cultivators to kill a divine realm cultivator. But now, 3 of his powerful subordinates had been killed. He thought he was dreaming. But seeing Xiaoping approaching him, he came to his senses and shouted, "Everyone attack together! Kill him! Kill him now! After this is done, I will reward you greatly." He frantically ordered his hundreds of subordinates, including the policemen from before. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. His subordinates came to their senses. They knew that if they did not kill Xiaoping, they would not be able to live. They surrounded him and unleashed their divine abilities. Dozens of divine realm cultivators and other cultivators exploded with power at the same time. Once hit, even if they did not die, they would be heavily injured. Fall stars. Xiaoping used the star guide incantation. Countless pores on his body breathed in the power of the stars. 360 stars appeared in the acupoints of his body, dancing like stars. The entire sky seemed to have fallen into darkness, turning into a night sky. Stars filled the starry sky. At the same time, a terrifying gravity was produced in the area. Boom. In the next second, huge meteorites formed from magic fell from the sky. They streaked across the sky, burning with flames, and smashed toward the crowd. These meteorites were heavy and simple. They seemed to be surrounded by chaotic air currents. Each one weighed at least a few hundred tons. One could imagine the power of such meteorites falling from the sky. Arg! Suddenly the group of people let out shrill cries. Faced with this power that was like a natural disaster, they could not resist at all. The meteorites came crashing down, and the group of people could not dodge in time. They were instantly smashed into meat paste. Even though these divine realm cultivators used their full strength, they could not do anything. Their protective magic was instantly smashed into pieces, and shocking deep pits appeared on the ground. After a few breaths, everyone there was dead, including the police captain. He was also smashed to death. Broken limbs and broken bones were everywhere, and blood was dripping. Qian Shan was the only one left alive. When a meteorite hit him, a golden energy shield immediately surged out of his body and smashed the meteorite into pieces. Xiaoping immediately knew that this was a life-saving talisman that Qian Ba, the head of the Qian family, had left on Qian Shan. It could save Qian Shan's life at a critical moment, and it had an extremely strong defense. "It's your turn." Xiaoping looked at Qian Shan calmly. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Even though he had the protection of an energy shield, the energy would eventually be exhausted. Once the energy of the talisman was exhausted, Qian Shan would definitely die. "Father, help. Help. Someone is trying to kill me. Someone is trying to kill me." At that moment, Qian Shan was in despair. He no longer had the arrogance of the young master of the Qian family. He was no different from a dog wagging its tail and begging for mercy. In the face of life and death, Qian Shan was the same as everyone else. "Stop." Just as Xiaoping was about to kill Qian Shan, a roar came from afar. A terrifying power came, instantly tearing the dragon-trapping rod's domain apart. Even with the power of a peerless treasure weapon, the dragon-trapping rod could not withstand the destructive power that was like heaven's might. A single blow caused countless cracks to appear on the dragon-trapping rod. Chapter 1236. This command to stop seemed to contain the voice of the Tao, and it instantly spread throughout the entire planet. Waves of mysterious tremors came from the air, and countless experts were aware of it. Especially the elders of the Fierce Tiger sect, the Black Rhino sect, the River sect, the Yellow River sect and the Green Bull sect who hadn't left Planet Buck, they also heard this shout. They instantly woke up. Whether they were in closed-door training, talking or comprehending the Tao, they all woke up one after another. Every one of them looked like they were facing a great enemy. What's going on? Why does this voice sound so much like Old Chen? Did someone make Old Chen angry? The Fierce Tiger sect elder was very confused. He was very familiar with this wave of mana. It was clearly the power of the Chen family's head, Chen Ba. On the entire planet Buck, apart from Chen Ba, no one dared to use the power of the Thunder Calamity Realm without restraint. No one could bring such a huge threat to them. There's a hint of anger and anxiety in his voice. Seems like something big has happened. The Black Rhino sect elder's eyes flashed. He could hear Chen Ba's emotions from his voice. These sect elders immediately sent people to find out what happened. Soon someone reported back. I see. The Chen family's young master, Chen Shan, brazenly attacked the young man with the black card. He wanted to take revenge, but he didn't expect the young man with the black card to be so strong. He actually killed all of Chen Shan's guards and almost lost his life. In the end, Chen Ba was enraged and he came to help. Many sect elders also learned of the ins and outs of the matter. This Chen Shan is also stupid. He is the owner of the Universe Bank's black card. His status is not small. He might not be inferior to the Chen family. He has countless secret treasures on him, but he still dared to bring people to take revenge. Isn't that stupid? There's no other way. This Chen Shan is Chen Ba's only son. He was born in his old age. He's like a precious baby. He's been arrogant since he was young. He gets whatever he wants. No one dares to provoke him on Planet Buck. Now there's actually someone who doesn't give him face and humiliates him in public. How can he take it? He's already very self-restrained for not flipping out on the spot because of the Universe Vast Seas auction. However, even that old ghost Chen Ba has personally made a move. I reckon that the black card youngster is done for. Indeed, Money Tyrant isn't the hedonistic son of a rich family like Chen Shan. He is a true almighty, an existence second only to saints. Once this person makes a move, it means that the outcome of the battle has already been decided. No one can stop it. There's no need to watch anymore. That youth with the black card is dead for sure. Everything is over. What a pity. I wonder which clan's direct descendant he came from. He actually died in this place today. Hee, what does that have to do with us? It would be best if Chen Ba slaughters that black-carded youth and draws out the clan behind him. Both sides will fight each other and there will be a good show to watch. Many sect elders were discussing spiritedly. They all believed that Xiaoping was done for. Being targeted by Chen Ba and being personally attacked by a Thunder Retribution Realm expert, Xiaoping had no chance of survival. Not to mention the fact that Chen Ba was an arrogant and despotic person who often massacred cities and destroyed countries. The number of souls that had died in his hands exceeded hundreds of billions. How could such an unruly person be afraid of the power behind the black-carded youth? This operation was bound to be a bloodbath. At this moment, where Xiaoping was, the equal domain of the dragon trapping stance had shattered. The warehouse had also been shaken into pieces, revealing an empty space. Swish, swish, swish. Many figures descended from the sky. The leader was a middle-aged man wearing a black robe with a golden dragon embroidered on it. He looked very similar to Chen Shan. His aura was like a black hole. Standing on the spot, he had a domineering energy that could devour everything. He seemed to be the master of this world, controlling everything. Without a doubt, this was the Chen family leader, Chen Ba. He was the #1 person in the Chen family and the true master of the Chen family. He was a Thunder Retribution Realm expert who was just one step away from the Sage Realm. Even in the entire universe he was considered a famous figure. As long as there was no sage he would be the strongest. Beside him followed 5 or 6 elders. Although their auras were slightly weaker than Chen Ba's, they were at least at the Golden Elixir Realm or even the Transcendence Realm. They were all the Chen family's Grand Supreme Elders. Who are you? As soon as Chen Ba appeared, he stared at Xiaoping. You dare to commit murder in my Chen family's territory, Buck Planet? You killed my Chen family's elites and even tried to kill my son, Chen Shan. Do you know that this is a great crime? You'll have your entire family killed. His voice was like that of the thunder god from the 9 heavens. It seemed to control extraordinary power. As it pressed down, it was as if he could control the life and death of billions of people. Any enemy would be scared out of their wits under this roar. This Chen family leader, Chen Ba, seemed to want to use this soul power and the difference in cultivation to crush Xiaoping to death. He even wanted to make Xiaoping kneel on the ground and beg for mercy, completely humiliating him. However, Xiaoping was unmoved. When Chen Ba's soul power pressed down, it was immediately blocked by the world tree. A green light surrounded Xiaoping's brain, making him invincible. No matter how Chen Ba pressed down, he was as steady as a mountain. What? Chen Ba and the others were shocked. According to the soul power of a thunder tribulation realm, a mere transcendent realm cultivator shouldn't be able to resist it. However, this kid was unharmed as if he didn't feel it at all. Without a doubt, this kid must have a secret treasure that could defend against mental power. Moreover, it must be an extremely powerful one. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to resist the pressure of Chen Ba's soul power. Thinking of this, Chen Ba's eyes flashed with greed. A secret treasure that could resist a Thunder Tribulation Realm's mental attack was rare. It might not be any lower than a saint artifact. If he killed this kid and snatched the treasure, he would definitely obtain this supreme mental treasure. However, he didn't show his inner thoughts. If you want to punish me, you need to ask what your son has done. Xiaoping sneered. He sent a large number of people to ambush me here and assassinate me. This is attempted murder. Even according to Buck Planet's laws, this is a heinous crime. He should be executed. And you Qin family subordinates rushed out one by one to kill me. In the end, you were defeated and killed by me in self-defense. You deserve to die. What crime did I commit? Hearing this, Qian Shan immediately shouted, "Father, don't listen to him. This person is a thief. I wanted to befriend him, but I didn't expect him to have evil intentions. He snuck into the Chen family and stole our treasure. In the end, I discovered his theft. So, I sent a large number of subordinates to recover the treasure." Unexpectedly, he didn't change. Not only did he refuse to admit it, but he also wanted to make a false accusation. He tried to kill us, steal the treasure, and escape. He is a cruel and unscrupulous villain. Everyone has the right to punish him. Chapter 1237. Ha! Xiaoping snorted coldly. A cold light flashed in his eyes. He didn't expect Qian Shan to be more shameless than him. He actually dared to distort the truth and tried to frame him. I see. Hearing this, Chen Ba nodded. It seems that the matter is very clear. You stole the treasure of my Chen family and were hunted by my son Qian Shan. You resisted and killed the elites of my Chen family. Although I don't know which family you are from, this is a serious crime no matter where you are. Of course, I won't kill you, but you can't escape punishment. I will destroy all your cultivation as a small punishment. You will be imprisoned in the Chen family's prison for 1,000 years. Whether or not you will be released in the future depends on your family. He decided Xiaoping's fate with a few words. The reason why he didn't kill Xiaoping now was that he was worried that Xiaoping had a big force behind him. If he killed Xiaoping, it would mean that he would really fight with the other party to the death. Even though Chen Ba was extremely arrogant, he was not stupid. He would not become the enemy of a big family for no reason. This would not benefit the Chen family. However, if Xiaoping didn't die, it meant that there was still room for negotiation. He could give the other party a way out. Moreover, by destroying this kid and making him completely useless, it could be considered as showing the dignity of the Chen family. There was no more miserable ending than being unable to cultivate. For warriors, it was worse than death. Could be said that it was better to be dead than to be alive. Without power for the rest of their lives, they would be no different from slaves and reptiles. As expected, the people of the Chen family are all jackals of the same tribe. Xiaoping sneered. It seems that it's useless to say anything to you. However, no matter how glib your tongue is, you can't change the fact that Chen Shan wants to kill me. This is a serious crime. Chen Shan must die today. How dare you? Hearing this, Chen Ba flew into a rage. Arrogant kid, don't you know where you are? This is the Chen family's territory. Barker Planet is not a place where people like you can mess around. How dare you say that you want to kill my son Chen Shan? I'd like to see how you will kill him. As soon as he finished speaking, he instantly attacked. Obviously, he was enraged by Xiaoping's words and wanted to capture Xiaoping. Boom, a huge hand came crashing down, reaching out from the void. It was as if the entire Barker Planet's time and space had stopped, and ripples appeared in the surrounding space. Xiaoping saw that this huge hand was extremely terrifying. It seemed to be covered with densely packed ancient inscriptions and filled with a terrifying aura. Strand after strand, it was like the laws of the world. Under such power, any enemy would be crushed to pieces. This was a brazen attack from a Thunder Tribulation realm powerhouse. Its strength was no small matter. It was like an eagle catching a chicken. It was as easy as catching a chicken. Stupid guy. The surrounding group of Qian family's supreme elders sneered again and again. They looked at Xia Ping as if they were looking at a dead man. He actually dared to provoke Qianba. If this wasn't courting death, then what was? If Money Tyrant made a move, even a few lives wouldn't be enough. Facing this terrifying attack, Xia Ping immediately took out the Sage Talisman with a thought. Immediately, the Saint's Talisman flew out from his body and floated in the air like an unparalleled star. It rumbled and spun, giving off a terrifying pressure. It was glowing and releasing a gray mist, as if Pangu was creating the chaos. At this moment, the entire Barker planet was trembling as if it was shivering. The tens of billions of living beings on Barker planet were trembling. Their souls were trembling. This kind of pressure, this kind of terrifying aura, was supreme and surpassed everything. Strand after strand, they spread across the sky of the planet. In particular, some powerhouses felt it the most. It was as if a saint had descended. Just this strand of pressure was enough to shatter their souls and turn them into nothingness. Oh my God, what happened? Could it be that a saint has descended? Many elders of the major sects were horrified. Their bodies were trembling as if they had encountered the end of the world. They were in a state of panic. Under this kind of power, they were like ants. And the Qian family's supreme elders who were close to this saint's talisman felt it the most. They were instantly pressed to the ground. Their entire bodies were like tortoises crawling on the ground. Countless cracks appeared on their bodies. Damn it, you actually have a saint's talisman on you? Qianba was scared half to death. Even if you beat him to death, he would never have thought that Xia Ping would have such a treasure on him. After all, even he, a Thunder Tribulation realm cultivator, didn't have such a treasure. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, Qianba's talisman shattered like ice under the scorching sun. It was like it had been vaporized. Damn it. Qianba roared out, his face savage. A great golden blade appeared in his hand. This was no ordinary great golden blade. Rather, it was a peerless great spirit artifact, the golden WRM blade. It was a magic treasure that was just one step away from leveling up to become a sacred artifact. Martial Dao Divine Ability, Turtle Snake Pre-Heaven Saber. In the blink of an eye, Qianba drew on all the power he could muster to unleash a saber strike that pulsed with the power of a turtle snake, like a primal chaos elder snake. Tens of thousands of saber lights appeared in this slash, and they were vast and mighty. Every single one of them was like a long river that traversed the sky, and they pierced through the past and present, possessing the power to shatter the void. Wherever the saber energy went, it transformed into a world of sabers, a world of primordial wastelands. The entire planet was covered with saber will, and all living beings trembled in fear. It almost seemed as though planet Barker was about to be chopped into countless pieces. At this moment, the Sage Talisman also emitted an endless light. Streams of golden light were emitted from the talisman like raindrops, piercing through the void and covering the entire area. It was incomparably sacred. Dong, dong. The two forces collided crazily like two stars colliding. Every time they collided, a terrifying shockwave would erupt, destroying the ground and flattening everything within a radius of several hundred miles. Even Barker City, which was far away, was affected. A large area was destroyed and there were countless casualties. Akka. Block it for me. Qianba howled, blue veins bulging out on his forehead as he drew on all of the magical power he could muster. His skin cracked and his blood vessels popped. Rumble. In the end, the power of the Sage Talisman ran out, and Qianba was knocked back 100 kilometers, leaving a long trail in the ground that looked like a high-speed runway. The other prime elders of the Qian clan were all severely injured, and were now covered in blood. Whoosh. Qianba half knelt on the ground, breathing in large mouthfuls of air, sweating profusely. It was clear that the injuries he received weren't light either, but in the end he still resisted it, not dying from a single strike. It wasn't that he hadn't encountered Sage Talismans before, but none of them had been this strong. Without a doubt, the sage who had given this brat the talisman was incredibly strong. Even among sages he was considered one of the strongest. Chapter 1238. This kid. Qianba stared at Xiaoping. He finally knew why this kid wasn't afraid at all even though he was here. It turned out that Xiaoping still had some tricks up his sleeves. How terrifying. But this way this kid's background was simply terrifying. With a saint supporting him, the Qian clan was nothing. If they offended him, the Qian clan would die a horrible death. It seemed that he couldn't destroy this kid's spiritual power this time. But no matter what, he had to teach him a lesson. Although the power of the saint's talisman was shocking, the power of the saint's talisman had been used up. Qianba didn't believe that this kid still had more. Obtaining one of these treasures was already a huge stroke of luck. It was impossible to obtain a few more of them. In other words, this kid had used all his trump cards. He couldn't have more. Without the saint's talisman, he was like a fish on a chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Die. Before Qianba could attack, Xiaoping attacked. He stretched out a finger and used his spiritual power. A terrifying flame power gathered on his finger and shot towards Qian Shan. Qian Shan, who was already in shock, didn't expect that Xiaoping would still dare to kill him at this time. He didn't dodge at all. With a puff, this power instantly entered Qian Shan's body. With an ah, he let out a shrill scream. He was no different from a pig being slaughtered. Boom, in the next second, this power immediately exploded inside Qian Shan's body. He was torn apart and turned into a pile of minced meat. Blood flowed everywhere. He couldn't be more dead. Qian Shan didn't expect that he would really die. He was really killed by Xiaoping. If he knew that Xiaoping was such a terrifying person, he definitely wouldn't have provoked him. But it was too late. He was arrogant his whole life. Once someone dared to offend him, he would use the Qian clan's power to slaughter a city and destroy a country. Countless clans had been destroyed because they offended him. The crimes they had committed were too numerous to count. He also thought that with the Qian clan's power, no one dared to offend him and he could do whatever he wanted in the universe. Unfortunately, he met Xiaoping, someone who had a stronger background than him. Xiaoping killed him just like that. Even his father, Qianba, who was in the Thunder Retribution realm, could only watch helplessly as he died. Little bastard, how dare you kill my son? Seeing Qian Shan killed in an instant, Qianba's eyes almost popped out. He screamed like a wounded beast. I said he will die today, so he will die. Even if you are in the Thunder Retribution realm, what can you do? Xiaoping sneered. He was still not afraid. Even in the face of the enraged Thunder Tribulation Almighty Qianba, he wasn't afraid at all. This was because he had many tricks up his sleeves. He also had a painting from the Blood Soul Saint. Its power was no less than a saint's talisman. That attack just now had already heavily injured Qianba. If he were to do it again, he would probably be turned into ashes. Even if Money Tyrant was powerful and didn't die after taking a hit, he could still take the opportunity to escape. Without Qian, the clan Wuden Shan would to him Shan. Damned little bastard, you killed my son. I don't care who you are, you will definitely die today, definitely die. Qianba was furious. He had simply lost all reason. You little bastard, you killed my son. I don't care who you are. You will die today. Qianba was furious. He had lost his mind. Even if he had to give it his all, even if the entire Qian clan was destroyed, he would kill this kid on the spot. Rumble. All the magic in his body vibrated. The entire planet trembled. He was clearly furious. Even if he had to use up all his strength, he would kill Xiaoping in an instant. This time, Qianba would not give the kid any chance to attack. Dong. At this moment, a black hole suddenly appeared in the sky above Planet Barker. It seemed to swallow everything. Then a finger stretched out from the black hole. All the powerful beings on Planet Barker were shocked. This finger was as white as jade. It emitted a holy light that surpassed everything. When it appeared, the universe seemed to stop. A saint has attacked. A sect elder shouted. Even his soul was trembling. This was different from the sage talisman from before. This was the true might of a sage. Even though it was just a finger, it was an attack that came from who knew how many light years away. Even so, this power was enough to destroy the entire planet. At this moment, all the living beings on Planet Barker stopped moving. It was as if time had stopped. Even Qianba, a Thunder Tribulation realm expert, was the same. His entire body's aura was locked and he could not move, because this finger was targeting him. No, no, no. How can this be? How can a saint attack? How can he be so shameless? Qianba was in despair. He was on the verge of breaking down. He could not imagine this at all. He merely wanted to kill a Transcendent Realm Junior, but a saint actually came to squash him to death. In the face of a supreme saint, Even if he was in the Thunder Retribution realm, he was just a slightly larger ant. The difference between a saint and a Thunder Tribulation realm was like the difference between heaven and earth. Its master. Xia Ping immediately sensed a familiar aura permeating the air around him. The person who had attacked him was none other than his master, Dark North Saint. Dark North Saint had probably discovered that he had used a sage talisman and knew what had happened here. In the end, Qian Ba, a Thunder Tribulation realm expert, had bullied the weak and even tried to kill him. Dark North Saint was furious. Even though he was on Cosmos Planet, which was countless light years away, he still attacked from afar and killed Qian Ba on the spot. Saint, spare me. Spare me. I won't dare to do it again. I won't dare to do it again. Qian Ba begged for mercy. In the face of this great power he was like an ant. It was like the despair of a transcendent realm expert facing a Thunder Tribulation realm expert. He felt the same way when facing a saint. Qian Ba begged for mercy. In the face of this mighty power he was like an ant. It was like the despair of a divine ability realm expert facing a lightning tribulation realm expert. He felt the same way when facing a saint. Qian Ba begged for mercy. In the face of this great power he was like an ant. It was like the despair of a transcendent realm expert facing a Thunder Tribulation realm expert. He felt the same way when facing a saint. Now he was extremely regretful. His intestines were turning green. How could he have thought that this kid's identity was so precious? He actually had a saint protecting him. This was too abnormal. This was unreasonable. If he had known that this kid's identity was so terrifying, he wouldn't have dared to come here even if he was beaten to death. It didn't matter if his son died. He could just have a few more children. But now even he had to die. This power didn't care how Qian Ba begged for mercy. It was like the will of the heavens directly crushing down. Boom, in the blink of an eye, Qian Ba's body turned into nothingness. Even the peerless spirit weapon on his body was destroyed inch by inch, disappearing into the void. Even the dozen or so Qian clan supreme elders in the surroundings were the same. All of them were turned into dust. They couldn't even let out a scream. Chapter 1239. Too strong. Xia Ping was very shocked. He finally knew what the power of a sage was. Just an attack from countless light years away could instantly turn a tribulation realm expert into dust. It was already very terrifying, but after killing Qian Ba, the surrounding ground was not damaged at all. It seemed that all the power had been focused on Qian Ba and the others. Other places were not affected at all. Otherwise, with the power of a sage, Planet Barker might even have collapsed. This degree of perfect control over power was simply unimaginable. It had reached the realm of gods and was beyond imagination. This was a saint who had transcended the mortal world and entered the realm of holiness. Yes, Xia Ping. Have you finished your mission and returned? Suddenly, Xia Ping felt a voice transmit to his soul. Clearly, it was Dark North Sage's divine sense transmission. His voice was transmitted to his mind from countless light years away. Yes, Master. I just returned. Xia Ping nodded. MHM. Come see me when you return to the Qingkuan sect. After saying this, Dark North Saint's voice disappeared. It seemed that to him, killing a Thunder Retribution realm powerhouse was a trivial matter. Immediately, the black hole above Planet Barker disappeared. The surrounding cosmic energy also returned to normal. There seems to be treasures. Xia Ping scanned with his divine sense and immediately found an interspatial ring on Chen Shan's body. He sent his divine sense inside and sensed that there were many pills and spirit herbs inside. They were worth at least 100 million universe dollars. Apart from that, he also found a Saint-tier secret manual, Lightning Fist. Clearly, this was the secret manual that Chen Shan had obtained at the auction yesterday. He had placed it in the ring. He even found a Saint-tier artifact fragment inside. Chen Shan had also obtained it at the auction, but he had not handed it over yet. In the end, it all belonged to Xia Ping. This Chen Shan is really a good person. The things he worked so hard to obtain are all mine. Xia Ping immediately felt very happy. He had obtained a great bargain this time. If they had really been auctioned at the auction, these two items would have been worth 2 to 3 billion universe dollars. Indeed, no business could compare to this kind of windfall. What made Xia Ping feel regretful was that Qian Ba and the others should have had some treasures on them. However, under Dark North Sage's power, they had all been turned to dust. Even their interspatial rings had shattered and disappeared into nothingness. Therefore he did not find any treasures on Qian Ba and the others. Forget it. Being able to obtain these things is already a huge fortune. I should return to the Heaven and Earth sect. Xia Ping searched around and found that there were no more treasures around, so he left this place. At this moment, no one on Barker Planet dared to stop him. Even the police were trembling in fear that Xia Ping would be enraged and kill them all. At that time, no one would dare to save them. After Xia Ping's moon god left, many of the big shots on Barker Planet, including the elders of the various sects, finally investigated Xia Ping's whereabouts. I've already found out that young man's identity. His name is Xia Ping and he's a disciple of the Heaven and Earth sect. Most importantly, he's also a disciple of the Dark North Saint. A sect elder said with a sunken voice. For the sake of obtaining this information, he did everything he could, using the sect's intelligence network. He even took a picture of Xia Ping to compare his appearance. In the end, he finally found out from an elder of the Jianghu sect that this generation's Jianghu sect disciple was the last disciple of the Dark North Saint, and his status was very high. What? Everyone was astonished. No matter how imaginative they were, they completely didn't expect that this young man actually had such an identity. He was the disciple of the Dark North Saint. In the 6 major star regions, this was simply an existence akin to a crown prince. It was unknown how many times more terrifying he was compared to the Chen clan. No wonder even the Dark North Saint made a move and instantly killed Chen Ba. This Chen Ba can be considered to have 8 lifetimes of bad luck, actually provoking such a terrifying character. After killing the young, the old came. That Chen Shan thought that his Chen clan was invincible and no one could provoke him. He brought out his father Chen Ba and thought that there was no one who couldn't kill him. Who would have thought that Chen Ba's background was even stronger than his? How terrifying. Luckily, I was extremely vigilant and didn't choose to attack that young man. Otherwise, even without the Dark North Saint, just the trump cards that Brad had would be enough to kill me dozens of times. That pitiful Chen Ba. He had a very high chance of advancing to the Saint realm, but who would have thought that he would be crushed to death by a single finger of the Dark North Saint before he could even break through? This is truly a case of dying before achieving success. Stop dreaming. There is only hope. In the entire universe, there are countless monstrous geniuses who have the potential to become saints, and Chen Ba is not the only one. Even if he doesn't die now, he might not be able to become a saint in the future. However, saints are really terrifying. It is said that the Dark North Saint's main body is still in the Jianghu faction, who knows how many tens of thousands of light years away from here. With a single attack from across space, he was able to crush Chen Ba, who was in the Thunder Tribulation realm. His strength is too terrifying. Even ordinary saints aren't that terrifying. However, the Dark North Saint is special. It is said that he once fought and killed saints of the same level, chasing them to the ends of the earth. His combat strength is not to be underestimated. Everyone discussed spiritedly. They all had lingering fears about what had just happened. The remnant might of a saint could shatter a planet. If it wasn't for the Dark North Saint holding back, everyone present would have died. At the same time, they were secretly glad that there were some people who wanted to take revenge on Xia Ping. They wanted to teach this brat a lesson and let him know the cruelty of reality. But now that they thought about it carefully, they felt lucky that they didn't make a move. Otherwise, they would have known the cruelty of reality. Let alone provoking the Dark North Saint, just the trump cards that this brat had were enough to make them suffer. The Chen clan is finished. This old man received news that the Chen clan sent people to hunt down the disciple of the Dark North Saint. The Jianghu faction is furious and wants to destroy the Chen clan. I reckon that there will be experts from the Jianghu faction coming soon to exterminate the entire Chen clan. An elder sighed ruefully. Just yesterday the Chen clan was still like the sun in the sky. But today they were destroyed. It was all because they provoked a major character that they couldn't afford to offend. Serves them right. How can they not wet their shoes if they often walk by the river? They have been arrogant and despotic for too long. There will come a day when they offend someone that they can't afford to offend. Once they do, they are finished. Another elder sneered. He had lived for several thousand years, and the longer he lived, the more cautious he became. This was because he knew how terrifying this universe was. If they accidentally offended a major character, even Thunder Tribulation realm experts would die. Immediately pass down the order. We must not offend this Dark North Saint's disciple, Xia Ping. Pass his portrait to every disciple and have them study it day and night. If anyone dares to offend Xia Ping unintentionally, this old man will exterminate their entire clan. An elder spoke ruthlessly. Xia Ping's actions this time could be considered to have shocked many small sections. Even the Chen clan was gone. If they still dared to be arrogant, their ending wouldn't be any better than the Chen clan. Chapter 1240. A few days later. Xiaoping returned to the Qingquan sect on the Moon God and then went to the Dark North Peak to meet his master, Dark North Saint. I see. It seems that you have gained a lot in the Blood Soul continent. After listening to Xiaoping's story, Dark North Saint could not help but nod. He also knew that Xiaoping had obtained a lot of soul stones from the Blood Soul continent this time. Of course, Xiaoping still concealed the matter of the soul race's secret spirit technique because this matter was extremely important and could not be leaked. Otherwise there would definitely be a disaster. To a saint, some soul stones were nothing at all. It was very beneficial to ordinary cultivators, but to a saint, it was not very beneficial to his own cultivation. Therefore, even though he knew that Xiaoping had obtained a lot of soul stones, Dark North Saint did not feel much and only expressed his admiration. Master, there are countless secret treasures in the Blood Soul continent. Why has no one completely conquered this continent? Xiaoping asked curiously. Even though soul stones were not very useful to a saint, it was still a treasure land. There was no reason not to conquer it. However, many sects only sent people to monitor it and not even the saints did anything. Blood Soul Saint left a backup plan on this continent. If we saints take action, we will immediately activate the teleportation formation of the Blood Soul continent and teleport the entire continent away. The universe is so big and it will be very difficult to find it. Of course, there are many reasons behind the saints not taking action. You don't need to know about this for now. Dark North Saint did not explain too much about this. Understood, Master. Xiaoping nodded. Since this was a game between saints, it was better for a small fry like him not to get involved. Otherwise he would not even know how he died. Right, Master, there is another very important thing I forgot to tell you. Xiaoping thought of something else. Previously, I encountered a group of killers in the Blood Soul continent. They called themselves the Seven Murders Group and they tried to assassinate me. In the end, they naturally failed and were captured by me. After extorting a confession, I found out that there was a mastermind behind this. His name was Mad Butcher Saint and he seemed to hate me to the core. Hearing this, Dark North Saint's eyes flashed coldly. Mad Butcher Saint? That old guy is not dead yet? I thought he had been hiding for so long and had already died from serious injuries. I didn't expect him to dare to appear and send people to kill my disciple. His body was filled with a terrifying murderous aura, as if it could crush the sky. Master, I've been targeted by a saint and my life has been frozen in water. Can I have some treasures to protect myself? Xiaoping blinked his eyes and stated his purpose. Previously, in order to deal with Money Tyrant, he had used a Sage Talisman and lost one of his trump cards. Although he had killed Money Tyrant, it was still a bit of a loss when he thought about it carefully. Therefore he hoped to make up for it with Dark North Sage. You little rascal. Dark North Saint laughed. However, if Wild Slaughter Saint wants to kill you, it does have a lot to do with me. After all, he has a death grudge with me. How about this? I will give you another Saint Talisman, which is enough to withstand the might of a saint. If you are unlucky enough to meet Wild Slaughter Saint, you can immediately take it out. Then I can teleport over and instantly kill that Wild Slaughter Saint to eliminate any future troubles. His tone was calm, as if killing a saint was as easy as chopping melons and vegetables. After saying that, a golden talisman immediately floated down from Dark North Saint's body and fell into Xiaoping's hand. Thank you, Master. Xiaoping was overjoyed and immediately took the golden talisman. Immediately he felt his hands sink and felt that the talisman weighed at least 10 tons. Every trace was like a great Tao imprint, heavier than a mountain. The power of this golden talisman seemed to be even stronger than before. If he had used this golden talisman on Planet Barker, he would have been able to instantly kill Money Tyrant and turn him into ashes. He wouldn't even be able to let out a scream. With a Saint Talisman, he believed that even if he were to face Wild Slaughter Saint, he wouldn't need to worry in the slightest. Furthermore, he could summon his master, Dark North Saint, at any time. If that Wild Slaughter Saint dared to attack him, then it would be enough to make that old bastard suffer. Thinking of this, he immediately felt elated. He wanted to see that Wild Slaughter Saint pee in his pants. Alright, you said before that there is a magic treasure called the Dragon Confinement Pillar. It can use the equal domain and suppress a powerful opponent to the same realm as you. Where is this magic treasure? Dark North Saint's tone changed. From what Xiaoping had said just now, he knew that Xiaoping had encountered a group of enemies before. Among them there were treasure-refining realm cultivators whose strength was a level higher than his, but he was still able to kill them. What he relied on was the dragon confinement pillar. This magic treasure could suppress the enemy's martial arts cultivation to the same realm as his own. It was extremely magical, so he was very interested in the dragon confinement pillar. It's here, but it has been broken in the previous battle, Xiaoping said regretfully. Although with the help of the dragon confinement pillar, he had killed a few treasure-refining realm cultivators, but now that this magic treasure was broken, it meant that another trump card of his had disappeared. With a whoosh, he took out the dragon confinement pillar. At this moment, the dragon confinement pillar was in a broken state, and there were signs of cracks everywhere. Obviously, it had lost its spirituality. After all, the dragon confinement pillar was only an ultimate treasure, and it couldn't withstand the full destruction of a treasure-refining realm cultivator. Interesting. A golden light flashed in Dark North Saint's eyes, piercing through the void and staring at the dragon confinement pillar. He scanned it with his divine sense, and electricity appeared in the void. What a fantastic idea. I didn't think that an ultimate treasure could actually display the power of a domain. The person who made this magic treasure is definitely a genius. He clicked his tongue in admiration. He seemed to have understood something. Thinking of this, Dark North Saint looked at Xiaoping. This magic treasure is more or less beneficial to my cultivation. Maybe I can learn something by analogy. Can you lend it to me for a while to observe? Of course, Master can observe it for as long as you want. Xiaoping expressed that there was no problem at all. Anyway, the dragon confinement pillar had long been broken, and there was not much benefit in keeping it by his side. Afterward, it would be thrown away as trash or devoured by the golden slime. Don't worry, Master is not an insatiable person. Dark North Saint smiled. After Master finishes observing it, I can help you refine a similar magic treasure. Thank you, Master. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. If a saint helped, he would definitely be able to repair the dragon confinement pillar. Maybe after being refined by a saint, this magic treasure could become even more powerful. With such benefits, only a fool would refuse. If there is nothing else, you can leave. Dark North Saint wanted to observe the dragon confinement pillar, so he was always cultivating. Yes, Master. Chapter 1241. Yanhuang Peak. 2 hours later, Xiaoping returned to the quiet room of Yanhuang Peak. Master, I heard that you got a fragment of a sacred tool? At this time, the tool's spirit Green Ox immediately appeared and looked at Xiaoping longingly. Because the Mountain River Pearl was seriously damaged, it very much needed the sacred tool fragment to recover. So what if I got it? It's not for you. It's the food of the golden slime, stupid ox. Corinne looked at the green ox with contempt, indicating that it was not for the Mountain River Pearl, but for the golden slime. Slime. The golden slime shouted when it heard this. Obviously, for it, the sacred tool fragment was also an extremely delicious food. It was difficult to part with it and wanted to devour it. Stupid cat, no one will treat you as a mute if you don't speak. The green ox was so angry that its teeth itched. It simply wanted to beat up Corinne. After all, this was a great opportunity for it to recover from its injuries. If it missed this opportunity, it didn't know when it would have to wait. In any case, the sacred tool fragment was not so easy to get, it needed a chance. If it was swallowed by the golden slime, it would be a long time before it could recover from its injuries. Master, the golden slime can evolve by devouring any metal. It's too wasteful to take the sacred tool fragment now. It's better to give the sacred tool fragment to me. If the Mountain River Pearl can be restored, I believe the benefits it can bring to Master are definitely greater than that of the golden slime. The green ox looked at Xiaoping pitifully. Xiaoping rubbed his chin and weighed the pros and cons. It was indeed as the black ox had said. Even if the golden slime devoured the artifact fragment, it would only increase the golden slime's power by a portion at most. It definitely would not be as helpful as repairing the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. Moreover, he was also very interested in repairing the sacred tool Mountain River Pearl. He wanted to know how powerful the Mountain River Pearl was at its peak. If he could plant a large number of elixirs, it would also be of great benefit to his cultivation. Thinking of this, he finally made a decision. Well, what you said is very reasonable. Since that's the case, I'll give this sacred tool fragment to you to devour. You stupid ox, it's too cheap. Corinne crossed his arms over his chest. But the green ox was overjoyed and didn't care about what Corinne said. Thank you, Master. With a swoosh, Xiaoping reached out with his hand and immediately tossed out a fragment of a saint artifact. The fragment hovered in the air as the aura of the saint artifact permeated the surroundings. Strand after strand of the aura of the saint artifact interweaved like the great waves, radiating with a divine aura. Furthermore, it gave off a sharp aura, as if it could even cut through the void with a gentle slash. One could imagine that if this sacred weapon had been complete, its power would have been extraordinary. Immediately, a black bead appeared out of thin air and devoured the artifact fragment. Rumble, suddenly the aura of the great path permeated the interior of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers, and the surroundings seemed to overflow with chaotic air currents. Golden light shone brightly, and the tyrannical energy was integrated into the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. Ha! Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He could sense that the orb of mountains and rivers had undergone an earth-shattering change. The originally shattered formations and marks were rapidly mending due to the Saint Artifact Fragment's energy. The entire Pearl of Mountains and Rivers seemed to be filled with a heavy aura, as if the power of mountains and rivers was rising. Indistinctly, a picture of mountains and rivers appeared in the void. There were endless mountains that were tens of thousands of feet tall, rivers that looked like ancient dragons, and countless plants and animals grew in these places. It was full of vitality, as if the primitive land had reappeared. Crash! This black bead seemed to have turned into a black hole, like a gluttonous beast, greedily devouring the surrounding chi of heaven and earth. It immediately formed a huge vortex, devouring everything. At this moment, the chi of heaven and earth in the entire Yanhuang Peak was surging like a storm, as if it was free. It was completely devoured by the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers, like a whale swallowing food. Dong. At this moment, the restrictive formations of Yanhuang Peak were immediately activated, instantly covering such a phenomenon. Otherwise, such a thing would definitely alarm the other elders. Of course, the many servants living in Yanhuang Peak also knew of such a phenomenon, and all of them were shocked. But thinking about it carefully, Xiaoping was the disciple of the Dark North Saint. The reason why such a phenomenon appeared was not because he was cultivating some amazing magical power, but because he was refining some peerless treasure. This was not surprising. After a moment of surprise, they no longer paid attention to it. After an unknown amount of time, the fluctuation of the chi of heaven and earth also stopped, like the calm after a storm. The Pearl of Mountains and Rivers floated in the space, emitting a noble pale yellow aura from time to time. Swish! Xiaoping's divine sense immediately penetrated the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. He found that the internal space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers had undergone earth-shattering changes compared to before. First of all, the area of the space had doubled compared to before. Of course, the expansion of the area of the space was only the most basic. What surprised him the most was that the internal space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers was originally a dead continent. There were ruins everywhere, without any vitality, not even plants. It was like a doomsday world. But after devouring the divine artifact fragment, the continent immediately became full of vitality. The broken continent healed, and even trees and weeds appeared. It was overflowing with greenery. There were thunder, storms, and heavy snow in the sky. It seemed that the natural climate had also begun to operate in the internal space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers, turning into a real world. Even the continent was filled with the chi of heaven and earth that was dozens of times denser than before. It was equivalent to a small paradise, and it had begun to have a trace of the divine artifact of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. Master, it's a pity that there is no living soil of the 9 heavens. If there was living soil of the 9 heavens, we could immediately turn this continent into spiritual land. We could grow countless spiritual herbs and turn it into a huge medicinal garden. That way we could continuously produce spiritual herbs, the green ox said with some regret. It dreamed of restoring its former glory. At this moment, its body had also condensed and had a heavy feeling. It was not as illusory as before, like a ghost that could be blown away by the wind at any time. Even its body emitted bursts of earthy yellow light, like a mountain god that controlled the power of the earth. It's fine. If it is living soil of the 9 heavens, there might be a place that has it. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He thought of the secret base of the Red Scarf Bandits. If it was true that the Red Scarf Bandits were growing crystal rice, then they definitely had a lot of living soil of the 9 heavens. When that happened, he could go to their lair and plunder it. Chapter 1242. 2 months later, in a quiet room at Yanhuang Peak. Xia Ping sat cross-legged on the ground. A golden crow of hell appeared behind him, constantly inhaling and exhaling the spiritual energy of the world. Like a whale swallowing a long river, it swallowed a huge amount of energy into its body. After 2 months of cultivation, consuming medicinal pills such as 5 elemental pills, yin-yang pills, and soul stones, his cultivation had reached the peak of the early stage of the transcendent realm. He was only 1 step away from the mid-stage of the transcendent realm. He felt that he had touched the bottleneck, and his spirit had reached its peak. This is the time. Suddenly Xia Ping opened his eyes. There was a sun in the depths of his pupils, and an unusual fire appeared. At this moment, the mana and divine sense in the depths of his brain were raised to the limit. Dong. Immediately, a crack appeared in the bottleneck of his purple palace from the surging mana, and it made a cracking sound. The mid-stage of the transcendent realm. Xia Ping immediately knew that he had finally reached the mid-stage of the transcendent realm. Boundless mana flowed in the depths of his purple palace, and the space in his purple palace expanded as well. The mana was like a raging river, expanding into the void outside the purple palace. After an unknown amount of time, when the mana in the purple palace stopped growing, the expansion of the purple palace stopped as well. However, compared to before, the purple palace had doubled in size. If someone saw Xia Ping's purple palace now, they would be extremely shocked. It was like a vast ocean that stretched as far as the eye could see, and an astonishing amount of mana flowed everywhere. Countless meridians and acupoints in his body were vibrating. Mana flowed out of the purple palace and filled his entire body, filling every cell of his with explosive power. It was as if every inch of his muscles could explode with the power to crush a mountain. At the same time, his golden crow of hell cells were also awakening. One by one, the cells melted, making his golden crow of hell bloodline even thicker, and it tempered his body. His blood was boiling like lava, and his entire body was emitting steam. Because his body temperature was so high, the water in the surroundings instantly evaporated. This kind of bloodline power also improved the 4 unusual fires in his body. Talisman of the Transcendent Realm. Xia Ping's eyes shone brightly. It wasn't just his mystic energy and divine sense that had been transformed. The talisman hidden deep within his mind had also evolved because he had reached the mid-stage of the divinity realm. One talisman after another appeared in the space of the purple mansion. There was a divine bird soaring in the sky, a kunpeng flying in the air, a full moon hanging high in the sky, a heavenly dragon roaring. Countless visions appeared in the purple mansion. There seemed to be immortals beating gongs and drums, blowing conch shells, Buddhas chanting, and ancient shamans praying. Rumble, under this indescribable power, the number of lines within each divine ability talisman seemed to increase, becoming incomparably complex. They emitted a tyrannical aura like the brand of the Tao. These talismans seemed to slowly transform into a huge formation, faintly resonating with the formation in the world, able to communicate with the power of heaven and earth. The formation was also incomparably mysterious and unfathomable. He could feel that his control over the power of heaven and earth had improved. I finally reached the mid-stage of the divinity realm. Xia Ping clenched his fists. After 2 months of cultivation and the consumption of large amounts of treasures, he had finally broken through to the mid-stage of the divinity realm in one fell swoop. Both his mystic energy and divine sense had grown tremendously. Of course, the biggest enlightenment was still his slight understanding of the formation of heaven and earth. This was extremely beneficial for reaching the treasure refinement realm and fusing the formation of heaven and earth into his body. If he could transform each talisman into a formation of heaven and earth, then its power would increase by more than 10 times. He could even understand the essence of refining a treasure after mastering each formation. He could then inject one formation after another into a treasure, allowing the treasure to unleash unimaginable power and boundless power. A day later in the quiet room, Xia Ping had finally stabilized his cultivation of the mid-stage of the divinity realm. He had completely gained control over his skyrocketing mystic energy and divine sense. He could be considered to have stepped into the mid-stage of the divinity realm. Lightning Fist. Xia Ping performed his fist technique in the quiet room. The power of thunder emerged from his body and crackled like the god of thunder. Immediately, a talisman rose up, and the talisman looked like a lightning symbol. This was a sacred-level divine ability he obtained from Qian Shan. In these 2 months he was not only condensing his mystic energy, but also practicing the lightning fist. After cultivating so many sacred-level martial arts, Xia Ping's perception had reached an amazing level. He was knowledgeable and did not need to spend precious hatred points. He could just comprehend it himself. After 2 months of cultivation, he had finally condensed the lightning fist. To successfully cultivate this sacred-level martial art, one must draw the power of the ninth heaven thunder into one's body. With the ninth heaven thunder as a guide, the power of thunder burst out. It was an extremely fierce martial art with tyrannical power. The problem was that most people died on the first step. If they wanted to draw the power of the ninth heaven thunder into their body, they would be instantly destroyed by the power of thunder and directly electrocuted into a charred corpse. It was unknown how many people had cultivated this lightning fist, but they had all failed. This was known as an extremely dangerous martial art, and it could be said that it was a narrow escape. Therefore, the person who obtained this secret manual sold the lightning fist because this martial art was of little value to that person. Although it was powerful, it could not be cultivated successfully. However, this was not a problem for Xiaoping at all. Because he had experienced several thunder tribulations and was struck by thunder countless times, his body had long contained countless thunder essence, and even every acupoint had a trace of thunder tribulation energy stored. Therefore, as soon as Xiaoping cultivated this sacred level fist technique, the lightning fist, it was simply twice the result with half the effort. He quickly condensed it and also comprehended a trace of the true meaning of thunder so he could easily control the power of thunder. It could be said that this martial art was a natural fit for him. Dong. In an instant, Xiaoping punched and the power of thunder in his body surged, instantly instilled on his fist, and instantly burst out, blasting towards a stone tablet in front of him. Immediately, the power of thunder was like a spear, and it instantly penetrated the stone tablet made of amazing material, forming a circle, and a pit appeared. The surrounding lightning crackled and there was a burst of charred smell. At the same time, every cell in his body contained the power of thunder, activating the cells. Xiaoping also discovered that when he used the lightning fist, it seemed that this fist technique also seemed to have the effect of tempering the body. Another day passed. It's time to return to the cloud world. Xiaoping finally ended his state of cultivation and opened his eyes, revealing a glimmer of light. He had left the cloud world for almost a year and it was time to make a trip back. Chapter 1243. A week later. The moon god left Jianghu star and set off for Cloud Realm. After sailing for more than a week, Xiaoping finally returned to Cloud Realm. The journey was uneventful. I'm finally back in Cloud World. Xiaoping stood on the spacecraft. He could clearly see the scenery outside through the projection system. A huge continent floated in space, surrounded by a layer of atmosphere. Although Cloud World was not as huge as the Blood Soul mainland, it was not a small continent. It could accommodate hundreds of millions of people and was rich in resources. It could be considered a continent of life. Let's install the Skynet system first before returning. After thinking about it, Xiaoping decided to install the Skynet system first before returning to Cloud Continent. Whoosh. He immediately took out a silver white box from his spatial ring. It was installed with the Skynet system. Master, do you want to install the Skynet system now? After Xiaoping activated the Skynet system, the artificial intelligence of the Skynet system immediately made a mechanical sound. Install, Xiaoping ordered. The Skynet system said, yes, master. The system will automatically search for a suitable location. Beep, there is a young star 150 million kilometers away from the system. It is about 3 billion years old and suitable to be used as the power source for the Skynet system. Master, do you want to choose that star as the installation location? Its detection system began to activate. Circles of special energy spread out. Immediately, a huge starry sky map appeared in the air. With Cloud World as the center, thousands of planets of different sizes appeared in the distance within a radius of 1 billion kilometers. Among these planets, there was a huge star with flames rolling inside, emitting endless heat. Majestic energy surged out, bestowing endless life energy to Cloud World. This orange sun was surrounded by flames. Just the surface temperature alone was as high as 6,000 degrees Celsius. Ordinary spaceships would be burned to ashes if they approached it. Not bad. Let's choose that sun as the power source for the Skynet system. Xiaoping nodded. He felt that the sun was very suitable. It was close to Cloud World and could completely cover the huge barren starfield near Cloud World. Yes, master. Lock on to Heng Xing and set off immediately. Immediately, the silver white box left the lunar god and floated in space. It immediately traveled through the void and arrived at the sun in the next second. Xia Ping received the information from the Skynet system and immediately discovered that the silver-white box had penetrated deep into the core of the sun. It seemed that no matter how terrifying the heat was, it could not burn the Skynet system. That was because it was made of great white mystic gold, a special ore in the universe. Its melting point was extremely high, and even the temperature of the sun could not destroy it. That was why it was suitable for making the Skynet system. After the silver-white box fell into the sun's core, it was like a transformer, constantly transforming, immediately turning into a huge base. Like a nuclear factory, it fused with the sun's core and absorbed the energy from the depths of the sun. Rumble, the Skynet seemed to have been thirsty for a very long time. It greedily absorbed the energy from the depths of the sun and crazily transmitted it to the 108,000 satellites of the Skynet, activating all the internal components. Every circuit inside seemed to be activated, and dense ancient inscriptions appeared on it. It seemed that the Skynet system not only combined the power of science and technology, but also the power of inscription formations. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After an unknown period of time, the Skynet system finally finished absorbing the energy and was completely charged. Immediately, the satellites were ejected from the base, and with the sun as the core, they flew out to a radius of 100 light-years. The satellites were projected out like rays of light, and they could fly autonomously. In just half a day, the 108,000 satellites covered an area with a radius of 100 light-years. At the same time, they activated the concealment system and hid in the void. Even radar could not detect their existence. There were even special energy channels between these 108,000 satellites, and they transmitted information to each other. It was as if there were countless energy channels intertwined in the void. If someone could see through the void, they would see that these lines formed a dense net in the area with a radius of 100 light-years. They were everywhere, covering the void. Nothing could escape the envelopment of this large net. Amazing, this is the Skynet system. Xia Ping was full of praise. A smart watch appeared in his hand. It was one of the core components of the Skynet system, and it assisted in communicating with the brain of the Skynet system. No matter how far away it was, it could give orders. Moreover, it could also receive information from the Skynet system's detection and exploration. In just a blink of an eye, he immediately received a lot of information from the Skynet system. The construction of the Skynet system is complete. The area with a radius of 100 light-years is a prohibited area. Master has the authority to isolate or log into the virtual network. No signals are allowed to be transmitted. Through the search, there are 35 million barren planets within a radius of 100 light-years. There are 23 million planets rich in iron, gold, copper, silver, and other resources. There are 130 primitive planets that are suitable for life. Their technological level is that of a primitive society and can be conquered. There are no enemies invading at the moment. Now in low-level alert mode. As more and more information was transmitted, Xia Ping gained a little understanding of this barren star field. If it was not for the Skynet system, he would not have known that there were so many planets with Cloud Continent as the center. Moreover, most of the planets were rich in resources that could be mined. There were even 130 habitable planets. If there were too many people on Cloud Continent in the future, they could even move to these habitable planets. However, there were very few habitable planets. Out of more than 30 million planets, only slightly more than 100 were suitable for life. That's great. With the Skynet system, the safety of Cloud Realm is no longer a concern. We'll know immediately if any enemy dares to break in, and we can even easily annihilate them. Xia Ping clenched his fists as a cold gleam flashed in his eyes. The Skynet system was not only a pervasive detection system, but it was also a super weapon system. By absorbing the sun's energy as the core, each satellite could instantly burst out destructive laser energy. It could even blast hundreds of light-years away. If 108,000 satellites attacked at the same time, the power would be earth-shattering. As long as the Saints did not make a move, even a super fleet would be destroyed by the Skynet system. As soon as the enemy stepped into the Skynet system's area, they would fall into a destructive attack and die without a doubt. Chapter 1244. Cloud Realm, Flaming Huang Island. This was the capital of the human alliance in the Cloud Realm, as well as the most central area. Xia Ping did not immediately contact the human leaders. Instead, he temporarily hid the moon god and came to Flaming Huang Island, wanting to know what had happened in the Cloud Realm in the past year. After all, he had not returned to the cloud realm for a year. According to the speed of development of humans, there must have been rapid changes. He was very curious about this. Why are there so many monsters on Flaming Huang Island? Xia Ping walked on a bustling street in Flaming Huang Island and immediately found that the scene was different from before. The street should have been full of humans, but now there were many monsters. Even the monsters of the Oceanic clan lived in this place, coexisting with humans and shopping on this street. The humans around him did not find it strange. If this had happened a year ago, it would have been an absolutely unimaginable scene. After all, the three major races, the human clan, the Oceanic clan, and the demon clan, were basically mortal enemies. There was a blood feud between them, and they would fight each other as soon as they met. How could they shop on the same street? Looking at you, you must have been hiding in the mountains to cultivate. You haven't returned to human society for a long time. At this moment, an old man in a white robe walked out. He seemed to see through Xia Ping's background at a glance. That's right, I haven't returned to human society for a long time. What happened? Why are there so many monsters in this place? Xia Ping asked very modestly. In fact, it hasn't been long since this happened. It's only been a year. Such a big change has happened in just 1 year. The old man in a white robe sighed. There is no other reason for this change. It's because the human clan, the demon clan, and the Oceanic clan have established a world government and unified the cloud realm. World government. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He asked carefully. Indeed, after he left, the leaders of the three major races had decided to establish a world government and set up 9 representatives for the sake of world peace. All the important matters of the cloud realm were decided by the 9 counselors. Among them, humans occupied 5 seats, the demon clan occupied 2, and the Oceanic clan occupied 2. Overall, humans had an overwhelming advantage. Basically, whatever the humans decided to do, the results of the meeting would be implemented. Even the 2 major races, the demon clan and the Oceanic clan, could not object. Do the demon clan and the Oceanic clan agree to this? Xia Ping asked. The white-robed old man said disdainfully, they can't do anything even if they don't want to. Ever since the aliens invaded the Sky Realm, the Sea Clan and the Demon Clan, the kings and invincible kings of the 2 major clans, suffered heavy casualties. The losses of the human race are negligible. Our combat power has an overwhelming advantage. It's not something the 2 clans can compare to. Most importantly, in the past year, 150 kings have been born in our human society. Their strength has further widened the gap between the demon race and the sea race. 150 kings. Xia Ping blinked his eyes. He remembered that he had left behind 105 element spirit fruits at most. How could there be 150 human kings? This was simply beyond his imagination. However, when he thought about it carefully, he didn't feel that it was strange. Even though the 5 element spirit fruits could help humans break through into the king realm, it didn't represent that it was impossible to break through without them. There were also many geniuses who could break through with their own strength. Moreover, according to the current rate of progress in human science and technology, they had also obtained a large amount of advanced technology from the Red Scarf Bandits. Countless researchers had been studying the effects of the 5 elements spirit fruit day and night, and they might have found a breakthrough. Therefore, for humans, breaking through to the Purple Palace realm was no longer a matter of heaven and earth. When the passers-by heard the words of the white-robed old man, they also felt the same way. Yeah, it's really too abnormal. Nowadays, kings are born like dumplings and they are not valuable anymore. It is said that the human government has found the key to humans breaking through to the king realm. Maybe in the future, all of us can be promoted to the king realm and enjoy a lifespan of more than 1,000 years. We're really living in an era of rapid change. Kings are nothing now. With such power, the sea race and the demon race are completely obedient and no longer dare to be arrogant. How dare they still be arrogant? Now, we can increase by more than 100 kings every year, and there may be more in the future. Just the number of kings alone is enough to annihilate the 2 races dozens of times. The Sky Realm is already the territory of our human race. The surrounding people were proud and elated. When they were in the Sky Realm, they were the ones being bullied. The demon race and the sea race would slaughter cities and destroy islands at the slightest provocation, causing countless human deaths. But now it was different. The 2 races did not even dare to let out a fart. When the surrounding sea race and demon race heard these words, they were all very unwilling, but they did not dare to say anything. After all, it was no longer the era when they dominated the Sky Realm. Now humans had become much more powerful than them. Not to mention the advanced technology, Just the endless number of human kings was enough to suppress them to the point of suffocation. If they didn't change their mentality, only death awaited them. With the birth of so many human kings, the humans of the sky realm can be considered comfortable in the future. Isn't that so? Now that there are so many human kings all over the world, and each king is guarding a human city, those dissatisfied demons who still dare to cause trouble will die without a doubt. Previously, there were some sea demons who wanted to plunder human ships at sea and committed a monstrous massacre. They were still unrepentant, and in the end, 100 human kings took action. Those nests were destroyed and the entire race was annihilated. This battle shocked the sea demons. Since then, the endless sea has been peaceful and there are very few pirates. Not only in the endless sea but also on the continent. In the past, the 100,000 mountain range was the territory of the monster clan. Sometimes, some big beasts would ride their demonic winds to slaughter people and eat them alive. But now they have been killed before they could even get close. Many people sighed. Compared to a year ago, the life of humans in the sky realm was simply too much better. Although there was not much progress in technology, the increase of human kings made the power of humans grow exponentially. It seems that humans are indeed developing well. Xiaoping nodded. Although he only left behind a 5-element spiritual tree, it greatly promoted the development of human military power, allowing humans to completely become the overlord of the sky realm. In the sky realm, the power of a king was absolute. No one could resist it. High-level combat power determined the outcome of a war. Xiaoping. Chapter 1245. At this moment, the world government had a security center that was responsible for monitoring all parts of Flaming Huang Island to prevent any accidents. Once an accident happened, the police could immediately arrive at the scene. It was precisely because of the existence of such a defense system that it was almost impossible for anyone to cause trouble on Flaming Huang Island. Even if it did happen, it would be quickly stopped and would not let things get out of hand. Suddenly, a staff member in the monitoring center looked at one of the images. It showed Xiaoping's appearance. He immediately woke up. "Supervisor, there's a situation." He shouted at the supervisor. "What's going on? Could it be that the demon race and the marine race are causing trouble?" Hearing this, the supervisor immediately came over. He was very nervous because it was now the breaking-in period for the 3 major races. If they wanted to live together harmoniously, it would take a long time. If there were any conflicts, they would suddenly fight. This was also a common thing. "No, it's not like that. Look, isn't this Lord Xiaoping?" The staff member shouted. The supervisor immediately stepped forward and looked at the image. His pupils shrank. "Yes, it is indeed Mr. Xia. The people above told us that if there is news of Lord Xiaoping, we must report immediately. What should we do now?" The staff member looked at the supervisor. "Report to the 9 representatives immediately. This is the highest level of the world government." The supervisor immediately gave the order without hesitation. As a senior government official, he knew more than his subordinates. He was very clear that Xiaoping had disappeared for a year. Now that he had suddenly appeared, it was very important. It was estimated that the entire cloud realm would be shaken. After all, it was this young man in front of him that humans had become so powerful now. "Yes, supervisor." The staff member immediately acted. On a street in Flaming Huang Island. Hearing the voices, Xiaoping turned his head and immediately saw the owners of the voices. They were Yang Wei, Gao Wan and Xiong Badian. These 3 were his high school classmates and schoolmates. After graduating from high school, his classmates went their separate ways. Since he had come to the cloud realm, he originally thought that he would not have the chance to see his former classmates again. He did not expect to meet them again at this time and place. However, when they met again, their identities, status and strength were completely different. "So it's you guys. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here." Xiaoping smiled and greeted them. "Yes, what a coincidence." Yang Wei, Gao Wan and Xiong Badian also smiled awkwardly. They were also shocked when they saw Xiaoping. They didn't expect to meet Xiaoping again in this place. After graduating from high school, they never had the chance to see Xiaoping again. Although he did not have the chance to meet Xiaoping in person, his reputation was simply too great. His name had practically resounded throughout the entire human world, reaching a level where no one did not know of him. Putting aside his other achievements, just the fact that he was the youngest human king in history was enough to scare a lot of people to death. After hearing this news, the corners of Yang Wei and the other two's mouths were full of bitterness. When they were in the third year of high school, everyone's martial arts level was not far apart. In fact, Xia Ping was not even as good as them. Yang King Ping Yang Xia and Yang Badian and Ping. After they had Yang, they were Yang. Moreover, they also remembered that they had some conflicts with Xia Ping in high school and they even fought. The relationship between the two sides was not very good, so they felt even more embarrassed. If Xia Ping wanted to retaliate against them, they would have no room to fight back. Xia Ping, I'm sorry, in high school? Xiong Badian and others wanted to apologize and reconcile with Xia Ping. Before they could finish speaking, Xia Ping waved his hand. No, this is all in the past. It's just a child's conflict. It's not worth mentioning at all. Forget it. Now Xia Ping had long forgotten that little conflict. In the vast life, this kind of thing that happened in high school could not even set off a wave in his heart. Some people praised the big man, the prime minister, for having a stomach that could sink a ship. Sometimes it was not that the other party was really broad-minded, but because he stood at a completely different level from ordinary people. Things that ordinary people would be angry about were simply not worth mentioning in the eyes of the big man. Thank you. Hearing this, Xiong Badian and the other two suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Xia Ping did not hate them, they were relieved. They did not need to be restless and afraid of Xia Ping's revenge. By the way, aren't you studying at Yanhuang Star? How did you come to the Sky Realm? Xia Ping asked curiously. He remembered that it had been almost 2 years since he graduated from high school. Under normal circumstances, students of the same grade should be in their third year. Studying abroad. Yang Wei said, we passed the university exam and went to the university in the Sky Realm to study abroad, so now we are temporarily attending university in the Sky Realm. Both Gao Wan and Xiong Badian nodded. They also came to the Sky Realm in the same way. After all, if they continued to stay in Yanhuang Star, they might not be able to promote to the Master Realm in their lifetime. Only coming to a vast world like the Sky Realm could they have the opportunity to grow. I see. Xia Ping expressed his understanding, but now he had long surpassed the realm of students and reached another level. He did not need to struggle in university like them. Hey, aren't these the 3 country bumpkins from Yanhuang Star? Why are you so free today, coming out to go shopping together? Do you have money? Aren't you afraid of being thrown out by the shop owner for eating and dashing? Losing the face of our university? At this moment an arrogant voice came. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and looked over. He saw a group of young students in student uniforms coming over. The one who spoke was a young man with a crew cut. Hua Hao. Hearing this voice, the faces of Xiong Badian and the other two were very ugly. They felt very embarrassed, especially in front of Xia Ping. It seemed that they had been seen shameful by their acquaintances. The young man with a crew cut in front of them was a classmate of the same university as them, but the other party was born in the Sky Realm, and he was born in a big family with a lot of money. This Hua Hao looked down on people from Yanhuang Star like them. When they were in school, he ridiculed and attacked them everywhere as if they were soft persimmons to be bullied. Xiong Badian and the other two came from Yanhuang Star and had no background in the Sky Realm. They did not dare to offend such a local bully. Is Hua Hao something you 3 country bumpkins can call? Don't you know what is polite? Call him young Master Hua, understand? People from the countryside don't know the rules. A younger brother immediately jumped out and scolded Xiong Badian and the other two. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.